Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tree of Geek, Season 2, Episode 3, Pray Not to Be Hunted. This episode will be covering the Predator franchise, the 5 movies in the franchise from Predator 1987 all the way to the newest edition, Prey, in 2022. My name is Michael the H-Train, a chugga, and over here...
I'm just your shy little Josh sitting here in the corner. If you tuned in last time, we decided to cover the Alien franchise. This time we're doing the whole Predator franchise, and if you're following along, I'm betting you can guess what our next episode's going to be. But we're not going to get into that right now.
It's about the Predator versus RoboCop game that Bloody Disgusting just said was put out. So it's the Terminator franchise.
We could do the Terminator franchise.
Or we could not.
Well, we could not.
Yeah. So, no, this is definitely going to be on the Predator franchise. We're going to go in release order. We're going to talk about the things that we normally do, what we like, what we don't like, talk about some tidbits behind the scenes.
Some fun facts, some random crap that you probably didn't need to know, but we're going to tell you anyways.
Yeah, and there will be spoilers. Spoiler alert. Yes, there will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers. And just a forewarning, if I sound a little bit off, I am just getting over a cold, so... I do apologize if you hear hacking and sniffling and snorting in the background.
Sound like a little snuffleupagus over here.
It sounds like there's a pug in the background. All right, so to dive in, Tree of Geek style, H-Train, what is new in your world?
What is new in my world? Well, I got promoted. There's that. It's not really a geeky thing, you know. Sometimes you gotta be responsible.
Applause here.
Well, their last episode that Emily heard, which was the Days of Future Geeks, she said that she was a little disappointed there wasn't a Kermit the Frog sound clip somewhere that wasn't added. I said I'd bring it up to the sound editor.
Hello, everyone.
But I did say you've been swamped. So, yeah.
Well, you did Kermit the Frog.
I know I did. But you said, I don't know. I guess there was something about an addition. I don't know. I don't remember. Nothing really new because Echo either comes out today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. The only thing... I watched Onyx the Fortuitous, which is, there was a guy who did some YouTube stuff, pretty funny. He ended up making his own full-length movie. It was actually pretty decent, as Olivia Taylor-Dudley from The Magicians, blonde girl.
Yeah.
So I recommend it to you geeks out there. It's a fun time. Jeffrey Combs, for all you Star Trek fans, he's in there as well. And what about you, man? What do you got going on?
So my big thing is I just received in the mail today, actually, the Predator versus Wolverine issue number 4 of the mini-series that they're doing. I haven't gotten to read it yet.
I'm waiting to binge it.
See that?
Because I read the first one.
I wish I would have taken that, waited. Because, reading them, every 3-4 weeks gets old. But I am excited to dive into it. I did just find that there's a special edition cover that I may or may not have ordered and spent more money than I should have on a comic book. It just shows... the Predator from behind standing looking at a wall of trophies, but the trophies are all different Wolverine heads from all the different eras.
TVA. Predator works for the TVA now. Well, I went to the antique barn and I picked up some comics too. So that's new. You picked up comics, I picked up comics. I got some D&D manuals came through the mail to help me out with my Dungeon Master.
Which is awesome.
Class, I guess. I think I need to take one, or I can just keep asking you questions on how to run a game.
Oh, hey, either one works for me.
I don't know. Since we've done the episodes, I don't think anything's really, the holidays were here. It's kind of a downtime, not a whole lot of free time to dive into the geek culture realm, portal, super space highway.
I also saw that, what's his name? Glenn.
Stephen Yeun.
Thank you. Glenn from The Walking Dead will not be joining the MCU as Sentry after all.
Now, I guess he did a costume fitting and was like, it's not really for me. And that's okay. He's a great actor, but I am relieved that that's not happening.
I agree.
Bring him into Marvel somewhere, just not Sentry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He can play 100 different characters that I'm not going to go down a hole with.
Right now, I'm still not sure about Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, but, I was pleasantly surprised with Heath Ledger as the Joker. So I always go back to that, because I honestly thought he was going to be horrible, and he turned out to be one of my all-time favorite renditions of the Joker. So
very well done.
We'll see. High hopes.
I hope so. I think it did in the last one. I should just stop singing.
But if there is nothing else,
want to disengage the cloaking device and dive on in?
Absolutely. Let's get into this. Jean-Claude Van Damme style.
Look, I'm still kicking. I must be on Broadway. Love me some time, cop. I got to make sure I maintain the energy because apparently in that episode she said I was so hype and I was going a mile a minute.
Which one?
And it's like I was talking about GTA 6. So yes, I was hype and I was going a mile a minute. And I might have cut off Josh quite a bit. Wasn't my intention, but I was hype. So I got to maintain the energy.
Is all there because I'm lacking. So.
Yes, all right.
All right, so in classic Tree of Geek style, we'll go ahead and give a roll 20 just to see who wants to dive into this shindig first. Which,
may the D20 gods.
Speaking of which, because it's become a tradition.
Roll in your favor.
To bring him up every episode. Did John show you, our buddy John, the new D20 he bought?
No, I'm sure I'll see it next week.
I don't know if it's Bluetooth or what, but it's somehow he rolls it in real life. It's a real D20 that connects to Roll20, and it'll show up his rolls online.
He's doing this just so he doesn't have to roll in person.
I don't know what to tell you, but
oh no, that's for your game because you guys play online.
But no, it's a real die.
Yes, I understand that. But he's using it specifically for your folks' game because
I guarantee he'll bring into yours. He'll bring into yours. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I want to see it.
All right, let's see what we got here.
So I can have my cat play with it.
All right. So it looks like A Train's going to start with my big old 4. So.
Well, hey man, dude, there's a couple numbers under 4. 18. All right.
So diving into Predator 1987.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to throw a couple quick cast, all that jazz, and then we'll go back and forth about what we like about it. So this whole Predator franchise, first off, was created by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, the Thomas brothers. There was a big joke that Rocky Balboa had fought everybody on the earthly plane, so there was nobody left for him to fight. So they're like, what if Rocky fought an alien? And then they, over time, created a story about that.
He wasn't supposed to be in the movie, was he? Sylvester Stallone?
No, I don't think so. Not that I could find anywhere. So anyway, they do that, which gets us to Predator in 1987, directed by John McTiernan and score by Alan Silvestri. I wanted to point out the score people in these movies because the composers, I think Predator has some amazing scores. I think it has one of the best sci-fi or horror score. You know, it's definitely up in the top 10 for me.
Okay.
So obviously we have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing some Dutch Schaefer. We got guys like Carl Weathers, Bill Duke, Jesse the Body Ventura, Sonny Landham, Shane Black, all types of really good actors in here that we know of now. I think they were relatively sort of unknown back then. Arnold hadn't done too many movies yet. Carl Weathers, obviously Rocky Balboa. You know, you get a group of rescuers or I don't know what.
More like guerrilla warfare fighters.
They kind of just, they go in there and they clean up messes.
Yeah.
That's,
they're
like a rescue, like fixers, rescue team type people. They've been called in because another elite special forces group has disappeared in the jungle. And that was also with some high ranking official. And Arnie's brought in with his team to go retrieve said politician. Things go south because somebody is hunting them. Something is hunting them. With some growing green blood. And
this is after they completely mow down that little village outpost thing, the enemy outpost.
Well, yeah, they had to get the hostages.
I mean,
yeah.
Even if you don't like the Predator movies and you like any type of war movie, that scene alone is worth watching.
Even when they roll in the helicopter and the music from Little Richard's playing, this movie is just littered with quotes nonstop. Just left and right. This movie, to me, is like a 9 out of 10. I love it from beginning to end. I don't see any cinematic issues with it. I think the direction, the pacing, the colors, the score, just everything is just amazing in this flick to me.
Well, it is a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
I look forward to all these IMDb.
Well, I got to pull them up.
Yeah, pull them up.
I have to agree. It's definitely like an 8.59 for me, just like the original Alien. It's one of those movies that it holds a place because it was just a completely new take on the entire sci-fi military aspect of things.
I think it has ultimate replay value as well.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of we just did the Alien franchise. And as much as I love a couple of those movies, it would be hard for me to just throw on Alien. Maybe I could throw on Aliens, but I know, not that I do it, I'm not one of those guys that watches the same movie every day, but I could watch Predator often. I could watch it once a month, if it was just on the background, if I was flipping through channels, I would stop because it's just like, ooh, what part are we at now?
Right.
Oh, what's Jesse's body gonna say? Oh man, is this the Billy joke? Like, what's going on here? As big as a house. I won't go through the whole joke on the podcast, but
well, all I know is through my research, I found that basically this entire movie is just one massive quotable plethora of happiness. Like,
it's great.
Every scene has something that you can quote, pretty much,
and it's not cheesy.
Well,
no, it's not. I mean, they may not be holding their weapons properly all the time, but
what's wrong with holding at a 90-degree? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a scene where Arnold's walking through the jungle. He's got his like an AR-15 or whatever they had then, an assault rifle. Like his arm is a perfect 90-degree angle out. His other arm's not even touching the gun. It was 100% because they wanted to show off his biceps. That's all it was.
Well, they hook, line, sinker got me in there because, I mean, I think it was more believable than Rambo 2.
Well,
Rambo 1, I mean, it's cool, but Rambo 2, I think
Rambo 2, the one where he's like basically massacring a small American town.
Rambo 1 is where he's in the town. Rambo 2 is where he goes over to Taiwan-ish area, and then 3 is where
I've never
he does
seen
the
all
stick
of those.
fighting. Yeah, I mean they're good movies.
They never held my attention. Maybe we'll jump into them sometime, but I don't know.
Love me some Rambo movies for sure. Well, I mean, I just watched a documentary on Stallone and Schwarzenegger, and they both say in both their newest documentaries that there was a competition between the two. Who could be the toughest dude on screen?
Come on, I'm
like
sure.
they were just one up. Like I'm sure they took a few scripts just to be like, I need to be bigger than this guy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we get a Predator up in here, 7'2", Harry and the Henderson himself. Peter Cullen does the voice, but that's not who I'm talking about here. I'm talking about Peter Hall, Kevin Peter Hall. Yep. That is. I mean, you're important if you got 3 names. But he wasn't the original Predator, Josh. Who was the original Predator here?
The original Predator was actually 4 names. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
One of my favorite martial arts actors of all time. But
they wanted him because they felt that he could bring that agile, nimble, being able to like bounce between trees, into the movie, and it just didn't work out. And it was a mixture of practicality and ego.
Well, the suit he was wearing wasn't very good, and I'm pretty sure this was during his cocaine years. To put it lightly, yeah, he was in a very nice drug addict back then. Is there a nice drug addict?
It was the 80s.
Yeah. But yeah, he had an attitude. He wanted his face to be shown. He was hot. He complained all the time. He wasn't very big. Well, there was apparently they put him in front in one of these scenes next to Jesse Body Ventura against, Carl Weathers and all these guys. And like, he's 5'9".
Oh, jeez.
Like, he's not a big dude. I mean, what isn't Arnold like 6'1", 6'2"? Yeah. And Jesse, I think, was 6'3", maybe.
So basically,
Bill Duke's like a 6'1"
this big
guy.
Ultimate Predator is a hobbit.
Yeah. So they bring in Kevin Peter Hall, 7'2", like I said, big, tall, somebody that they wanted to intimidate Arnold on screen. So
yeah,
and I think he greatly pulled it off. I didn't know that they brought in, Optimus Prime to do the voice for him, but I just thought it was just
he never really had a voice. I mean,
it's just like when he does the weird, like when he stabs a scorpion, like when he's hearing people and he's repeating it, or at the very end when he's laughing.
See, I don't know
why they brought in.
I never realized that was another actor. I thought it was just like voice modulation.
That's what I thought.
Changing it, because they do that. They play it often where they like repeat sounds back. If you listen throughout the movie, you can actually hear clicking and stuff of the Predator all the time. And it just...
I'm telling you, they knew what they were doing with this flick.
It plays on your anxiety, because if it's your first time watching it, you're watching the forest nonstop, like, I think I see it. No, that's not it. Well, I think I see it there. No, that's not it either.
Right.
Well, that's not it. Oh, wait, that is it. Did you... I'm more of the technical aspect of stuff, but did you look into how they actually did the camouflaging?
I did not. No, I did not.
So I found this absolutely fascinating. From a videographer point of view, they would film the Predator in a bright red costume, which I did read too. Some of the scenes Van Damme shot were actually kept in because the bright red was in such contrast to the green rainforest, they could easily chroma key it out. Think like green screen, but in reverse.
Oh, I understand.
And then they would zoom the camera out and refilm the exact same like pan or shots or whatever zoomed out without the Predator actor in there. So that whenever they would overlay it and then chroma key that red, crazy looking suit out, it would leave this weird, not quite lined up image where you would see, because it was zoomed in and now they're zoomed out, it had this weird effect where one looked closer than the other. And that's how they got that ripple effect. They would basically think of it today whenever you point a camera at a computer screen that the camera is currently on. You get that infinite effect.
Yeah.
It was the same idea, but a much earlier, a much earlier version.
Definitely innovative, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. It was at the time considered like leagues ahead in the the special effects department, because it was a whole new way of doing something like that.
Right on. I just want to throw out too that Sven Ole Thorsen, who's been in a crap ton of Schwarzenegger movies, he was in here too as an uncredited role. He was one of the big bad guys in Conan that beats up Arnold.
Really?
Yeah.
Who'd he play?
A Soviet military advisor in an uncredited role.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was also in Running Man. He was supposed to be the bodyguard to beat up Arnold, then he just walks away. He's like, nah, I'm good.
That's another good movie.
Oh, I love The Running Man. I'll be back. Only in the reruns.
Yeah.
So I broke these things down about what I don't like, what I do like, favorite quotes, favorite scenes, stuff like that. For what I didn't like, I didn't really write down anything because I liked the entire movie. Probably seen it 25, 30 times my entire life, and I can tell you that I enjoy every part of this movie. I never fast forward through anything. I'm never bored in a part. I love this movie beginning to end.
See, I agree and disagree just in the aspect of...
What didn't you like?
It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that I always felt the beginning felt slower. Yes, you have the guerrilla warfare and the saving the hostages, and I don't know. It just felt like it took a while to actually understand what the movie was about. But rewatching it just recently for this, I completely forgot that the very first scene is a spaceship coming down.
It sure is.
So that
I think they're showing what the badass team is.
Well, see, that kind of revitalized my passion for it, because the parts that I thought were slow were because originally I'd catch on TV, stuff like that.
Right, like on USA or something.
Yeah, like I didn't fully understand what it was about until it was about what it was about. So rewatching it 100%, it was less, oh, this part's slow, I don't get it, and more of, okay, is it there right now? Because you understand, oh, there's something here.
Gotcha. I understand.
So
it's just, to me, like me and my other friend talk quite often about movies. He's the guy I'm doing the horror movie stuff with. But we talk about, like some of our favorite actors and what our favorite movies were of those actors. And like with Arnold, it's like...
Wait, are you cheating on me with another podcast?
I'm cheating on you. Maybe.
We should bring him on.
I wish I could. Logistically, it probably won't happen, but I wish I could. But I think, to me, when it comes to like Commando or Running Man or Twins or something, Predator or T2 is probably like which one is my favorite Arnold movie ever. And most of the time, I will probably answer Predator.
Last Action Hero.
Get out of here. I mean, it's a good movie, but it doesn't even touch Predator.
Most listeners are like, I don't even know what that movie is.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, it's Conan, but generally it's Predator's my favorite
Conan
Arnold movie
ever. Conan was good, though. Conan was good.
Oh, for sure. What did you like about this movie, Josh?
I would have to say my favorite part is just the incredible attention in all the audio effects that they put in. Like the insane amount of detail that they took the time to just pin down perfectly. Everything from like I said, the little like, what would you call it? Ticks and talks or whatever. I don't know.
Like the clicking. Like
you hear that, you hear the laughter, stuff like that. Like that they took the time to just completely flush out. Like you're completely not engulfed in it. What's the word I'm looking for?
Immersed.
Yeah, you're completely immersed in that universe for that hour and a half movie.
Oh, I'm sucked in.
Like,
you could put it on right now and I'd be sucked into it. Emily would probably try to say something to me and I'd be like, wait, what? I'm like, you've seen this 35 times, Michael. Why are you? Because it's amazing and it's awesome. I like the cat and mouse drama of it. The whole, I mean, yes, there'd probably been movies before where somebody's being hunted down, but an original movie like this where elite dudes are just getting picked off one by one and it's not your normal type of foe. And then,
well, it's not.
then Arnold has to then he's starting to play with them towards the end when he figures things out.
It's not the crew of a mining rig in space who has absolutely no experience in combat.
Right. These are
this is
machismo to the max guys.
Yeah, these are the best of the best.
Time to bleed.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do quotes the entire time. Get through the chopper.
Thank you.
Go.
I cannot do an Arnold impersonation. I just can't.
3-man sweep, no sound. I can do more. So you said, you love the technical aspect when it comes to sound design, which makes sense because you went to school for that stuff back in the day. But what would your absolute favorite part of the movie be? Like sequence or scene?
Ooh, see, that is a tough one, not gonna lie. But I am gonna say that I have it written down. My absolute favorite scene is also one of the most quotable scenes. It's the very end of the final battle. There's one booby trap left.
Come on!
Yes.
Come on!
Yes. He's cornered and he's like, come on, kill me. I'm right here.
I'm right here.
And the Predator's just like, he's not dumb. There's something going on here.
I know something sneaky about you.
And just that whole scene where anybody else, even if you had a booby trap set, you'd be shitting yourself like, come on, please work. Or so. No, he's just goading him like, you're going to die or you're going to die with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down
such a good part of the movie.
I wrote down as well the final, the basic final end sequence with Arnold and the Predator going back and forth. It's and then that final vision of him, in the ash after that giant explosion, just looking like a tank.
I was reading, there are fan theories. I love my fan theories. That the reason the Predator set the timer. Because he could have just detonated and, boom, done. Killed him with him. The reason he set the timer was out of respect for, what was his name, Dutch?
Yeah, Dutch Shaver.
Basically saying, you bested me.
Well, the Yautja.
Gonna give you, 20-second head start.
Right. Well, the Yautja is in the comics and novels and things eventually gave him a name. The species of the Yautja is that's how I'm going to pronounce it. I guess there's been debate on how to say it, but the Yautja are very respectful hunters. Predators, hunters, but call them what you will, but they're very respectful about their prey and their trophies. And though, they are hunting some people with zero skills and no weaponry, but they got cloaking devices and they got claws and all this crazy stuff.
We'll touch on it here in a second in the second movie. You do see a little bit of their, you could almost call it a code of honor or code of conduct.
Yeah. Well, even the first one, what's her face? I don't have her name directly in front of me, but she doesn't get killed because she's not holding a gun. Right.
She wasn't considered a threat. They were.
And Gonsalves. Well, she's an insurgent. That's I know. Her first name is Elpidia.
I don't even have her written down.
Well, thanks to Wikipedia and all the fine folks that do all the hard work for me, I get to find out these informational answers.
Well, I'm a little annoyed now because I told ChatGPT, hey, give me a list of the cast and who they played, and it didn't give me that one. So, AI, you're stupid.
Please, well, listen, the one AI generator that I use that's the free art one, it doesn't, a xenomorph or a predator, it jacks them up hard. So,
the one, I'm not going to do free advertising.
Bing does it all right, though.
I'm not going to do free advertising, but the one that I just started paying for, that you saw some of the images that we were getting.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely amazing.
Very, very good. Some of those pictures you're doing, some of the artwork for maybe we might use for a future episode.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good.
Sometimes I just type in the most random thing I could possibly think of and see what it gives me, and it never disappoints. The one was a ferret dressed as a Jedi with a lightsaber fighting a xenomorph. How does that disappoint anybody?
I don't know. What's your favorite quote from this movie? Now, you said at the end you liked that thing where he's hitting the button and whatnot, but what's your favorite quote?
I think we already know what my favorite quote is.
I don't. That's why I'm asking.
But I don't know if I should say it because it's definitely an R-rated quote. It's the fact that just
talking about the beautifulness.
Every time they see the actual face of a predator, it's always, you are one ugly mother. I'll put a beep in there or something.
I swore in the last podcast.
Did you really?
One ugly motherfucker.
It's not even because they said the F word. No, it's just that is the reaction I think 99% of people would have right off the bat. Ew, what is that?
Well, that's a Nossigan from Star Trek, actually, is what it is.
What?
When on your free time, look on some databases on the internet there, and you will just look up Nossigan from Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and you'll be like, "Isn't this a Predator just cleaned up?"
I do know I was when I was
I'm pretty sure Predator
around,
came first, though.
Well, when I was bouncing around, I did find I don't remember which movie it was, unfortunately, but they said that the mask was 100% practical, like moving mandible and everything. And then they went. It was one of the later movies, I believe. They went in with CGI and basically just redid the whole face because they wanted it to look perfect. But the practical effects one looked fantastic.
Oh, we'll get into some CGI shenanigans later, buddy.
I have notes. I'm more than sure.
Listen, I was jones to do this franchise, but there's some things I'm jonesing to, like, going a little ramble.
With everything that's good comes something bad.
Yeah, that is the truth.
And speaking of bad, I think the last little tidbit I have for this movie, yeah, it looks like it is, our buddy who played Billy Soul. Did you know he apparently was extremely difficult to work with on set?
I've heard that.
So from my reading, I don't know all the details, but apparently they brought in a bodyguard. The studio, the insurance company had to bring in a bodyguard as, quote, protection for the rest of the cast from him because he was prone to violent outrages. Which, look at this cast for a second and tell me...
Is 7'2" Peter Hall going to be...
Is
Kevin going to be afraid?
Is one guy really going to put up a fight against Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Ex-Navy SEAL, supposedly.
Well, and Kevin Peter Hall, that was a muscle suit.
Like, no, he's a big dude.
That was him. I mean, like I said, Jesse the Body Ventura being in the, being a SEAL, like he's not. Yeah. Yeah. Arnold's in the military. I mean, did you know it was Arnold's idea to have the whole entire, like it was originally pitched Arnold versus an alien, and Arnold's like, you know what? I think there should be a team. It shouldn't just be me against this predator. Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. He's the one that pitched to have a team in there.
So he wanted to have a team that would slowly get murdered, so it would then be him versus.
Yeah, well, originally there was a group of alien hunters waiting in a very early script,
and he was going to kill them all.
Well, it was going to be just called Hunter, which is funny because later on there's an argument in the movie, which is one of the better parts of that movie. Of it's not a predator, it's a hunter.
Was that in this movie?
No, it's a later flick.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. I mean, I do gotta say that having it the way they did, having a group of, like you said, like super advanced trained, essentially Navy SEALs or
they're spec ops,
jungle guerrilla
force
warfare,
recon, and
basically the best of the best, getting picked off one by one. That definitely ups the stakes for what are they?
Because otherwise it just would have been Rambo versus Predator,
right?
Yeah, so I think it was a good choice.
And one of the things I absolutely love about this movie that I feel Alien also did, just not that long before. Alien was
79, 78, 79.
They didn't even show the enemy in its full glory until
anticipation.
At least 2/3, 3/4 of the way into the movie.
Well, this one also had two governors as well, as Arnold became governor of California and Jesse became governor of Minnesota. And, I knew this, but didn't really think about it. But I was watching Meet Cute with Emily. It's a movie with Kaylee Cuoco and Pete Davidson, time travel involved. And he says it at the bar, and I was like, oh, shit, that's right. I said, I'm doing a Predator episode in a couple days. I might as well throw that tidbit in there. You
got to love when those little consistencies pop up in your life.
Yeah, it's serendipitous.
Just so happens that I'm doing a podcast on this, and they just talked about it.
Right.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's like Google's listening, in a way.
That's that Mysterious Universe that I plug every chance I get.
Kidding.
One of the greatest podcasts of all time, in my opinion. They always talk about, I can't remember the term they use, but exactly that. Like when things just start falling in place,
happenstance,
almost too coincidentally. No, I can't remember. I'll remember it halfway through the word that they use.
No, well, I don't know, but I was just throwing out there. Yeah.
But if you're, dreaming about a car accident and then you leave your house that day and you see a car accident, things like that.
That's because alternate realities, man. It's all about the frequencies.
We could go on for a long time on that conversation.
We could, but instead we got to go to Los Angeles.
We do, to one of the trashiest looking LAs I've ever seen in my life.
Well, before we even get to behind the scenes, I'll just throw out there now, like any of the, the little tidbit of info is that this is supposed to be 10 years after the first Predator, which at the time of its release was a couple years into the future. So some of the cars were altered to look more boxy, and it was supposed to be, because it made more sense my second time, or well, I don't know, probably like my 15th time watching it. But some of the guns that they're holding, like the handheld guns, have like some weird scopes and things on them. They looked kind of like futuristic and RoboCop-ish.
Yeah, I don't think I ever realized
sense.
It was a decade later.
I didn't either until I read and I was like, oh, okay. So that's why that chick's gun has that weird silver all over it.
Unfortunately, we don't have a recurring actor throughout all these movies like we did Sigourney Weaver. But just throwing this out there, do you know what Arnold made for that movie?
For what movie?
Predator. The first.
No, I don't. I didn't look into the money info.
$3.5 million.
Really?
Which sounds like so little today when you think about like...
Yeah, that was 87 though. So,
well, like when you think, well, it came out in 89, but yeah, I guess he'd have been. Oh no, it was 87. My bad. Yeah.
How dare you question me? It was my favorite horror movie of 1987. I mean, 1987.
You consider that a horror?
It's sci-fi horror.
Okay.
Alien comes in, he's secretly stalking and murdering, and there's blood everywhere. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
It's sci-fi horror.
I mean, the whole skinning.
It's
people.
may not be like disturbing or as crazy horrors like Alien, but to me it's horror adjacent.
I mean, there were skinned bodies hanging in the trees. So
yes.
Okay, I'll give that to you. So 1990.
1990.
Which cinematically 10 years later, we have Danny Glover playing Lieutenant Mike Harrigan. He is our main protagonist, an LAPD officer, and I'm sure you can figure it out.
There's a gang war going on in the city, and he needs to take everybody out. That's bad, but there's somebody badder stalking the streets and killing everybody. Yeah, this was directed by Stephen Hopkins, so we get a new director. Score done by Alan Silvestri comes back again. And I did listen to some of the soundtracks of this, and there is a little bit more. It's less 80s synth. There's a little bit more of a jungle vibe in this one, which makes sense because it's a urban jungle. Danny Glover's there. We get Kevin Peter Hall comes back, so I mean at least he comes back for this one as the city predator.
See, I've read that he was credited as the city hunter, but in some versions it was credited as the elder predator. Unless he played both, maybe?
Maybe he did.
I don't know.
I didn't go like super deep, but speaking of aliens,
Gary Busey's
here. Well, I mean, listen, there's what's his name here? See, I'm getting all out of order here, but I'll get to it later why there's so many Lethal Weapon people in this movie.
I don't even think I realized that, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, now that you're saying
Lethal Weapon's my favorite movie of all time.
For real?
Yes. It was for years. It might have shifted a little bit. No, I'm not even going to throw shade. Action movie? I'll stand firm. It is my favorite action movie of all time. I love Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
I like it better than Predator.
So,
barely.
All joking aside-ish, speaking of aliens...
And you say Gary Busey because...
I mean, look at the guy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he went off the rails for sure. No, we get Bill Paxton shows up in here as a young hotshot detective joining the force.
Was it Jerry
joining
Lambert.
This force of that side of town?
Yeah.
He'd been doing things for a while.
I believe the only actor to play in both franchises.
I haven't looked into it, but that makes sense because I don't recognize
I still
anybody
love
else.
that
And we just watched Aliens.
The second Alien, and he's in the second Predator. It's like he had a thing for sequels.
We need to get Fassbender in the next Predator.
You think there'll be another Predator?
Oh, for sure. But I mean, because we'll at the very end of this, we'll get to the future of the franchise. Yeah. So we get these detectives. They're going around. There's a whole gang war going on. Predators show up. It's the hottest time of the year. You got global warming. Whether it exists or not, it does in this reality. There's like so many. This cast list was crazy. So I'm not even going to go through all this. There's Jamaican mobster dudes, and there's South American mobster. Like there's mobster people everywhere. There's some crazy accents in this movie.
It reminded me of like Gotham City on steroids. Like everybody is part of some syndicate of some sort with some plan.
Well, I'll give you a comic book to go research and buy. Have you seen or read the Batman vs. Predators?
No.
I knew you didn't. That's why I said it. So there you go. And yeah.
See, I honestly, I didn't even know that they did that because I knew that they've done Predator versus Wolverine multiple times.
Predators faced everybody. Even Aliens went against Darkseid and Superman. So there's a whole thing where Superman he has to go away from Earth for so long to stop the xenomorphs, and he's not around the sun, so he starts getting weaker. And then there's one where Darkseid is raising facehugger aliens and to like dominate. And then one of them like leaps at him and he just crushes it in his hand. Acid and all, because he's fucking Darkseid.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Wow.
But we're not here to talk about the DCEU
No.
Zack Snyder cut, which, whatever. But we are here to talk about what we liked about this movie and what we didn't like. And what I didn't like, I'll just quick go here first while you take a sip there, is the editing. I did not like the editing. I'm not sure what all Mark Goldblatt has done or Burt Lovett, but I didn't think it was done very well. There's a specific scene where Harrigan is chasing the predator. He's looking up at the rooftops, things leaping, and then Gary Busey's CIA, maybe future stargazer people, smash his vehicle and they drag him out of his car and they go to put him in like a van. But before he's like even really in the van, the scene just stops. And then like all of a sudden he's walking up the ramp into like the butcher factory there. And I'm like, what is going on? There were several scenes where I personally feel there's like another half hour worth of scenes missing from this movie somewhere.
I can see that. Yeah,
I'm not bashing the film, but like,
no, now you bring it
like,
up.
I wanted to know
definitely
why,
a very abrupt cut there.
Like why, I want to know why Harrigan was the way he was. Maybe what was his emotional reasoning for being like so off the rails, or was he just supposed to be Martin Riggs meets John McClane dressed as Roger Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon? Like what was going on here?
Synchronicities. That's the word they use for when things line up.
The credit
randomly.
cards.
What? No. Sorry, if I didn't say it, I'd forget it. But no, I completely understand what you mean. Like a lot of the editing was very choppy.
What bugged me a little bit as well about this was, yes, you do see bodies like hanging and there's some blood, but a lot of the kills the Predator does are off screen.
Yeah.
When he drops through the glass, kills all the gang members off screen. When he kills
we see
Danny,
we see the remnants. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, even in the subway, and that was another part about the future is LA doesn't have a subway.
Yeah.
So they inserted a subway. And me as a kid, I didn't know. I thought every city that was major had a subway, So yeah, but the train scene, like you don't really see that kill per se either. So that kind of, was like, it was so bloody the first one, and they kind of,
that was a really
way toned it down.
Really good part of the movie, though. The whole subway scene, that was a pretty good.
Oh, I agree.
Intensity.
And that's really my bashing in the movie. Otherwise, I really like it. What really didn't you like about the flick? Anything specific that rubbed you the wrong way?
Oh man, I don't know.
You're like, no, this is a 10 out of 10. This is better than Predator 1.
It had a 6.3 out of 10.
I was wondering when this IMDb rating was coming
better than Predator 1.
You ever try Metacritic or Letterboxd?
Yeah, I bounce around, but IMDb is the most used. Well, at least it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore, but
I feel like it kind of like Rotten Tomatoes these days.
No, but my big thing was, like I'd mentioned, this is the only Predator movie that you see any type of nudity in. And I understand they were really trying to drive home like the dirty grittiness of the city, like how it's just completely.
Well, if you watch so many movies from the '90s, like horror movie wise, or even
shoehorn that in.
Yeah,
everywhere.
there's boobies in there.
Well, see, honestly, I didn't like that.
Because no, I didn't really need to be.
No, exactly. It didn't serve any point. I like.
Oh, he's a drug lord that has a naked lady. Ooh, shocker.
Yeah, big deal. Like, oh, and the police showed up and she's still not covered up. Like, no, give me a break. The point being, it didn't need to be there. I didn't feel it served any purpose. I didn't feel it in any way elevated the status of the drug lord.
Well, at least it was brief. It wasn't like super.
It was. But I didn't like how dark and gritty they made the movie feel.
I thought there was some comedy to balance it out, because I think this one's extremely comedic. But I just compared to
the first half of the movie felt overly dark. It really did. It felt like an old.
That police station,
like an old Tim Burton Batman. Like it was darker than it needed to be. Like
no, I agree.
You turn the brightness on your TV up, and it's still black.
I don't know if it was that bad, but no, I see what you're saying there. So a little bit too dark for you. Okay. Well, is there anything else, or do you want to jump into what you did like about it? Well, I will say some of the special effects. Okay, so the first one, 87. This one's 90. A couple years go by, you think the special effects will go up just a smidge, but some of those effects, like him jumping around, I felt just weren't as good as the first one.
It was very obviously a guy on a like a harness and zip on.
Yeah, and then the one thing I talk about, no killing on screen, like King Willie gets his head cut off. Yeah, and there's like a scream, and like he's just carrying his head. Yep. Like, why couldn't I see that happen? Whatever.
He was the Jamaican drug lord that,
that knew something was there.
He tried to, like, fight him with voodoo or something like that.
It didn't last very long.
It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. I don't really think that there's much more that I disliked about it, other than, like I said, it was a little overly dark for my taste. And like you said, they almost tried to make an R-rated movie with PG style violence. Like, it just didn't flow the way I feel like it could have. That being said, there's still a lot of takeaways that I thoroughly enjoyed about the movie. As I said a little bit ago, you get to see a slightly deeper look at a predator's ethical code. There's a scene where he encounters, I think, the pregnant woman.
Yeah,
completely unarmed.
The detective
just
who's
walks
had
away.
stomach pains for the first quarter of the movie.
Yeah, which went nowhere.
Well, it went somewhere. She was pregnant.
Well, yeah. But I mean, he walks away from her. He lets her go. Like, it shows that, just like the girl in the first movie, unarmed and essentially not a threat, not worth my time.
Right. Absolutely agree.
And I liked how we got to see a little deeper also into their, I guess you could almost call it training. Like when he acts as a field medic on himself and he tries to bandage his own wounds in that really crappy bathroom.
The world building here for the predator.
Yeah, I feel like
their species was
they pushed us not too deep, but another layer or two into the mythos. Like you got to understand a little bit more of, okay, what's actually going on with this race.
Yeah, well, what I liked is it wasn't just a straight up retread of the first one. Not just because they threw it into the city, which I thought was a nice touch, but like he had more to him. He wasn't just a camouflaged killer. Like there was more. Like this predator had a little bit more personality.
Yeah,
and so I thought that was pretty slick. And Bill, speaking of personality, Bill Paxton's character Lambert, he had to have been an ancestor of Hudson from Aliens. Like, I mean, if these universes do collide somewhere, like he had to have been an ancestor. Like the comedy, Bill Paxton just chews up every scene he's in. It doesn't matter.
He was the same character in two different movies.
That's what I'm saying. They had to have been related. I loved that they brought him in here for this. And I mean, he didn't survive long, but it's still pretty kick-ass.
So now here's a quick question for you.
All right.
You said 10 years passed. Now, do you think they're on a 10-year cycle? Or do you think that this just happens to be the next, big falling out with a predator?
I think it's just happenstance. I don't think it's a cycle.
Okay.
I don't think so. We haven't seen...
Well,
as far as cinema goes, I don't know how the comic books or anything
we've never seen like a solid schedule.
Yeah,
but a lot of fan theories online were saying that, well, maybe this is showing so many years. They essentially online they were really going on the idea of it's a rite of passage that they send younger. How'd you pronounce it?
Yautja.
They send younger ones here, and if they survive, and in the region that they're dropped, essentially. It's a rite of passage to ascend to the next level of their hierarchy, because we absolutely do see in later movies as well, they do run in a hierarchy sort of.
True. Well, I was going more with because it was hot, because the girl from the first movie says they only come in the hot summers. This here, they pressed on, the news reporters, like this is one of the biggest heat waves the city's ever had. And it's about heat.
That's interesting.
For the first two movies. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they might be on a cycle. I think these are just isolated predator stories that just happen to have been 10 years apart from each other. That's the way I take it.
So I have the next two pieces here a little out of order, because the next part is basically the ending. But then after that is one of my favorite parts, which is before the ending. So how do you want to...
Well, I mean, my next part is the favorite part, so...
Oh, perfect. What's your favorite part?
Two parts that I enjoyed were Harrigan chasing the predator, kind of like a reverse cat and mouse. From the first one.
Okay.
Where he's, at first the predator's chasing him for a second, but then he's like, cuts off his hand and he's chasing him through everywhere. And it wasn't, I don't know, it was just different. And I enjoyed that. And of course the subway scene.
Okay.
With Bill Paxton. I just, the gang members are going to do their thing and everybody pulls out the guns and the predator showed up. You're like, it was just pure ridiculous. And I know some people look at that and go, that's why this movie's stupid and shitty. But I look at it and go, man, that was just fun.
When everybody pulls out their guns.
Yeah, it was just fun. Bill Paxton just like, come on, man, like trying his best to
take on.
It's game over, man. It's game over. I wish he would have done that. It would have been fantastic. So yeah, those are my two favorite scenes.
My favorite scene that I've written down. Well, actually, I do have two favorites, but my favorite one of the whole movie is the whole slaughterhouse setup. From the time they go in, lay their trap, that we see how well that goes. The
radioactive dust.
All the way through until the final, not so wonderful ending for them. It was just, I mean, I've read before online that a lot of people think it was very cheesy, like, oh, well, we already know what's going to happen. Yeah, okay, that's great, but it was just so much fun to watch. Like, yeah, I understand people are getting ripped apart here, but like the smart blade, like through the meats, the hanging meat.
He just cut everything in half. You just see the one dude just.
It was just
that was pretty slick.
so well executed. They took a creature that so far we've only ever seen in open areas like a forest or a city, and you confine them into this little building, and they just went with it. They used their surroundings to their advantage, and you just watch as this predator just rips this, again, elite unit to pieces.
Yeah, it was...
And of course we have Busey, who, is essentially this film's version of Burke from Aliens, who wants to capture the tech and all that fun jazz.
Yeah, there's always got to be somebody. Well, think of what we could do with all this. Yeah. There's got to be those people. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Thomas Burrs, they wanted to expand the mythos, and I think it's good that scene was in there because it's all about feeding, and it reminded me of what you said there, that they like the taste of beef. Apparently, they like some cows. So
now were they behind all the movies or just the first two?
The first two, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, but they didn't want it to just be a psycho predator. That's why they wanted to show the trophies, which, this one, we get to see the alien trophy. Stan Winston, had worked, on the scenes, in Alien. And he's like, well, why don't we throw this in there too? Thus starting a whole entire, man, that's...
Well, see, that's my second favorite part, is when we get to see their trophy wall of skulls and stuff, creatures that we've never seen. And to this day, we've never seen. From different,
and that's on. They could do so many more Predator movies that we'll talk about possibilities later on.
But then you see the alien xenomorph skull, very elongated skull, and
there's we see now there are many different versions of those.
Yes. Well, and my second favorite part is the whole trophy room scene. Yeah, but when they hand Danny Glover the flintlock pistol, and he's looking at it like, "What the heck is this?" It. And it just makes you realize, they've been doing this for a really long time, which we find out later, roughly the origins of that pistol.
Right.
So it's just, overall, I mean, I know it's not a very highly rated movie, 6.3, but I did enjoy it. It's not number 2 on my list, but it's certainly not the bottom. No.
Well, we talked about this before, and our lists are almost identical, I do believe.
Yeah, we talked about this off camera. Why do we say off camera? Off mic.
Off mic. I can't go down that whole thing again.
I know.
I was just...
invade your eardrums. Our lists are pretty much exactly the same.
Did you know that Patrick Swayze was originally eyed to star in this movie with Arnold?
Wait, in the second one?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Patrick Swayze was originally eyed to star with the returning Arnold, but Arnold declined to join the film. And that even Steven Seagal was eyed, but shot it down. Producer Joel Silver, who worked on Lethal Weapon, brought in a few actors from that film and chose to make Harrigan an average Joe type cop. Yeah, so this was the first time they tried to bring Arnold back.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he didn't come back.
Kind of like, what's his name at the bottom of the tower in Die Hard? Oh, what's his... I always think of Carl Winslow from...
Oh, Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Well, I mean, you and your fan theories, I'm pretty sure that everybody's saying they're all the same character or related.
Yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot more of anything on this film. I did enjoy it. I don't like it as much as the first one. I think it has a whole special place in my heart. I remember seeing it a lot. This one played on TV a lot. I think it played more than regular Predator.
If you caught it on TV today, would you just sit and watch it?
Predator 2?
Or you think it'd be more of a flip through, and if there's nothing else on, go back and watch it? Which, it's funny saying it like that because nobody flips through channels anymore.
Well, I wouldn't doom scroll through Netflix. I would just go. But I mean, I only have Hulu Live TV. But long story short of an answer, there's a high probability I'd probably watch it, depending on what else was going on. I know Emily wouldn't want to watch it with me. Tried to get her to watch Prey, and she said no, thank you. She was very polite about it.
When we were prepping for Alien, the last one I told you I watched was Alien Covenant, because I tried to get through them all. And I asked today, I'm like, hey, I'm going to watch this. Do you want to? She's like, no. Didn't even think about it. She's like, why would I want to watch that? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it's a horror movie. I hate horror. I'm like, nah, it's not a horror movie. I'm like, they're more of sci-fi.
They're adjacent is what everybody calls it.
Because I had it pulled up on my Plex server. And she's like, look, right there, sci-fi horror. Horror. No. Horror. She's like, I'm not watching it. I'm like, all right, I'll go to another room.
Well, I'm lucky to have the man cave for me to come and watch.
I have a basement, movies. A completely unfinished basement.
Let's
where
just add another room to your house.
The rafters are 7 foot, so it's right at my head.
Yeah, I've been in your basement.
I've thought about putting plywood up.
My old basement was like yours.
Yeah. I thought about putting plywood up just to cut down on cobwebs and stuff, but I noticed the more I'm down there, because my 3D printer's down there, laser engraver, wood shop, and lately that's where I've been going to edit these I did what you said. You have to take a little space heater down and just
Yeah.
huddle up in my damp corner. I told her I was going to drywall it, and she's like, why? Because our basement gets damp.
Get a French drain like we have in ours.
Oh, we have one. Yeah, and we have 2 sump pumps. It still gets damp. Apparently, our property
We
is
have 2 as well.
right in the middle of a natural spring, so we're screwed no matter what we
Wow.
do.
Speaking of being screwed, how would you like to be dropped from a freaking plane in a place you have no idea where you're going? You just wake up free fall. Ah! After you're done playing the piano. Be kind of crazy, right?
Do I have a parachute?
Well, I mean, you're going to keep hitting a button like you do, and hopefully it works. You don't know if it works.
Okay. Yeah, no matter what you answered there, the answer was no thank you.
No, thank you. Well, that is the premise. You have a pianist who ends up being killed by predators. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
the whole movie?
The whole movie. No,
Was
we're
it
going to
John
jump
Legend?
into...
Sorry, buddy.
We're going to jump into Predators from 2010. Directed by Nimrod Antal, who also did Vacancy with Luke Wilson. Very great movie. Kate Beckinsale. Good horror movie. Great horror movie. Written by Alex Litvak and Michael Finch. Produced by Robert Rodriguez, who was in talks to direct it. Decided to just stick around as the producer. Score is done by a new person this time, John Debney. John Debney. Anyway, he did The Passion of the Christ and some other flicks.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Mel Gibson thought, you're good enough for my movie. So, I mean, there's a lot of actors in this one, with a group of people.
This had a very stand-up cast to it.
So I'm not going to run through everybody, but our main guy is Adrian Brody, who was in The Pianist, which there's all my jokes. That's why I was making jokes. Pretty much a bunch of really good killers from different areas of the world are airdropped like you're playing Fortnite into is that what happens? You get loot from Fortnite? So they airdrop things?
Never played it.
No, either have I.
Okay.
I've just seen kids play it here and there. Anyway, they get airdropped onto this planet, and they start getting killed by predators, and there's other aliens, and it's called Predators, which is kind of a double thing because there's a bunch of predators, and these people are predators themselves.
Diving into the rest of the cast, just throwing some names out there to give everybody a little idea. So thankfully, like you said, they were dropped in. It was an alien planet. So the cast stays small, so we don't have to know 100 different people.
And luckily, somebody's chute didn't open. So, I mean...
That is true.
One less person we had to...
And as you said, they're being dropped in on the planet. And it just so happens to be an alien planet. So thankfully, the cast is kept pretty tight. Looks like we've got Adrian Brody as Royce, a mercenary, and our film's protagonist. So if you don't know what that means, he's the main character. Alice Braga playing Isabel. Topher Grace as Edwin. Walter Goggins as Stans. Oleg Taktarov as Nikolai. Lawrence Fishburne as Nolan. Danny Trejo as Tuchilo. And God, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Mahershala Ali as Mombasa.
Oh, that's the future Blade.
That is. I was just going to say
Blade.
that.
And you got Louis Azawa Chunchian as Hanzo?
I don't have that one.
Yeah, well, he's there. He's there. He's the one that fights the predator in the field.
Freaking ChatGPT, man.
ChatGPT, man.
They're
not. There's a plugin that never got installed. You might want to check its drivers.
So we do basically find out that every single one of these people are in some way a killer.
Serial killers, inmates.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we have snipers, mercenaries, death row inmates, Russian special forces, Mexican cartel enforcer. You can guess who that is.
Yes.
Yeah, Danny Trejo. An RUF officer, which I forget what that stood for. It was like
It's something to do in Africa.
Yeah. And then we also have Topher Grace's Edwin, the completely out-of-place doctor, who is later revealed to be a completely psychotic serial killer.
And the Yakuza member that ChatGPT thought wasn't important enough to have in the movie.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, because he talked too much.
He did, though. He
did. So we get Adrian Brody as Royce. Robert Rodriguez decided he did not want an Arnold-type guy. He wanted a more military, actual reality-based look, which I agree with. When I was in the military, only the lieutenant looked like Schwarzenegger, and he went to the gym all the time. But mostly, a lot of guys look more like Adrian Brody, kind of tall, slim, and Adrian Brody got shredded for this. Like, he was a little bit intimidating there towards the end. I was like, damn, I didn't think the pianist had it in him, but I don't know where to go from there. I'm looking at it, but I don't know, because you're like...
Well, I think the only logical place to go from here is they all dropped in on the planet, And the very first thing that they encounter is not a predator. It's a freaking, like, hellhound, demon dog, predator dog thing.
Which I think is similar to what shows up in another entry.
All I could think was, like, no, I don't want that thing in my life.
Yeah, well, because you see all these crates, what are all these different creatures? And one of my kind of beefs with the movie is I wanted to see more of the other creatures.
Oh, yeah.
And even the humanoid bipedal one that's running, the CGI for that part in particular, I didn't think was very great. It was very quick. I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to be, maybe it was budget concerns, maybe it was time constraints, I don't know. But I wanted to see more of these other creatures. Now, by the end, you would think there'd be a sequel so you could see more of these things. As of now, we haven't got that sequel.
Well, see, that's what I originally thought was going to happen. Like, I mean, we do find out that these dog creatures are, I guess you'd say, maintained by one of the predators. One of the tracker-like predator.
Yeah, like with the hounds, you go duck hunting.
Yeah.
Or fox hunting, you take a
See,
dog with you.
I don't like that it was just, for the most part, people. I thought it was going to be, like, a huge variety of creatures set out, may the best survive, and whatever does survive is what we're going to fight.
It would have been pretty slick and pretty cool to have maybe, instead of Lawrence Fishburne, which I feel like his role could have been recast here, I wasn't really big on his role, maybe they could have had like an alien-ish, some sort of, like, just go the Star Trek route, give him some nose ridges or something, have an alien, like, oh, I've been here for so long and yada yada, and I'm from this planet, and they're like, oh, shit.
Sigourney Weaver, yeah.
Dude, there you go. There you go. That would have been pretty cool. These guys go traipsing around. They're being hunted. You find out that not only are they being hunted, though, there's a warring faction issue going on between two predators. You see, like, the more regular predator, or the predator from, like, Predator 1, Predator 2, those type more species is strung up, and he's gotten his ass whooped. Apparently, he's getting bullied, getting swirlies. I don't know. And the other predators are really doing the main hunting here, so...
Yeah, there's like I think 3 or 4 different, almost like classes of predator.
Right,
the one if you look closely actually has, it looks like the mandible or the jaw.
It is a mandible of
an alien, of a xenomorph.
It is. Yes, the 4 predators. One of them was played by Derek Mears, Kerry Jones, and Brian Steele. Derek Mears also played Jason in the Friday the 13th remake. Hills Have Eyes, so he's well versed in this stuff. You get the classic predator, tracker predator, falconer predator, and berserker predator. Mears plays the classic predator, who's strung up. Steele plays the berserker and falconer, 2 of the larger predators hunting humans, and the berserker predator is identified by a xenomorph mandible attached to its helmet and faces off against Royce in the climax.
Wow.
I love saying climax.
I will also say that unfortunately, Kevin Peter Hall did not come back for this movie because he did pass away the year after Predator 2 due to a horrible car accident at the age of, I think it was 35, I think it said. That
sounds about right.
He had to have a blood transfusion, and he actually contracted HIV from the transfusion, which ultimately led to his very early death. So, sadly, he was unable to reprise his role for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but I mean, that is unfortunate, but I think that the guys that they did get in here are still big. I mean, Derek Mears, I do believe, is either 7 foot or close to 7 foot. He's a big guy. So I think they all did pretty well. They're all imposing. I mean, as the berserker predator, the dude that played him was done very well, I think.
Yeah. And I will also say we do finally get to see an actual like social hierarchy. You do really get to get
like a wolf pack.
And you get to see an understanding of these 4 different predators, or
Yautja.
We get to see there's definitely someone in command, someone who's lower rank. I mean, this definitely lets us play off of the whole caste system, which is the more of a social hierarchy, like I said.
True.
Normally, it's passed down through families. Like certain families hold almost like a royalty state or status, and it continues throughout offspring until that bloodline
I didn't really
ends.
notice a lot of the hierarchy in there. I mean, other than Berserker being number 1, I felt like it was more of another squad. Like, because usually it's one predator versus somebody or against a group, and here you get the different ones.
See, I saw it as
one's the recon guy, one's the muscle, one's kind of crazy. It's.
Yeah, I really like that take.
It's like the A team of the predators.
I like that take on it because originally I saw it as like that was a different family unit, and that the one they had strung up was of a completely different house, almost like House Targaryen.
Love me some dragons.
So that's a neat take on it. I like that.
Yeah. Just came to me, actually. Didn't even absorb that when I watched it.
Whoa. So the realization that everyone's there because they're kind of considered a predator in their own right, it really drives home the idea that maybe the predators aren't the monsters after all. Like, it pushes the idea of, well, maybe humanity has its own version of a monster when you think about it, because every one of them is in some way a killer.
Yeah, and they're not nice. They're not nice.
No.
And that's kind of what this is a mean movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciate there's being Royce, you get this guy to be, he's your hero. He's supposed to take care of things. He's not a nice dude.
No.
He tells people to fuck off. He puts them he uses them as bait.
He's a very self-serving type person.
Yeah, it really shows what humanity, leave it to the Soviet guy. Like, he was like the dude that sort of had heart for a minute. You know, that'll teach you. You can't be a nice guy, man. I mean, even Lawrence Fishburne, his character, just like
that whole part of it just annoyed me, though.
It's one of I don't really, it's not that I didn't like that part. I just wished it wasn't Lawrence Fishburne. I think somebody else or something else could have brought that better. Like, you've then been there for 10 years. I understand you've been scavenging, but like, I don't know. It could have been handled better. I don't know. I'm not a professional writer here, but I think it could have been handled better.
I'm familiar with what we're going on about right now. Lawrence Fishburne plays another human who was from a previous Fortnite drop.
He's an astronaut guy, I guess.
Yeah, and he survived. And he's survived on this planet for however long. And they come across him. He invites them into his home. And then out of nowhere, he just turns on them and steals their supplies and tries to kill everybody.
Yeah, because that's how he survived for 10 years. He's scavenged. Instead of getting people together to find a craft, which is Royce's plan, to get the hell off the planet, he's like, no, I'm just going to stick it out and kill everybody I see. Yeah.
No, I thought that whole part was just very unneeded. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I did like how they cause a small explosion, which gets the attention of the predators, and then Lawrence Fishburne...
He's like, come on, big dog, and then dead.
Yep.
Just dead. Yeah, that's pretty much what I didn't like about it. I didn't like I wanted more creatures, less Lawrence Fishburne. Other than that, I know it sounds like I'm being a little dour here, but I really like this movie. It's higher up in the list for me.
What are a few things that you liked about it?
What do I like about the movie? I think it's, another good flip of the script. We place, these people are in an alien hunting preserve. They're not in a city. The predator is in your neighborhood. You're now in his neighborhood. It used to be like, oh, we're going to send Jason to space or Leprechaun to space. Like, we don't know what else to do. But I feel like this franchise whether better or worse in some entries, I think they've found ways to innovate. And I think it's innovative here. We've touched on it 100 times already here, but bringing human, dangerous, predatory type people, we've taken on special forces guys, but what if we take like a whole entire variety and try to hunt them in our own backyard, which does give them a little bit of an advantage, I guess. But I think the Yautja must have done some heavy surveillance, because how did they know that Topher Grace was a serial killer? I mean, us stupid humans couldn't figure it out, apparently. I mean, he was still walking around free.
Yeah.
But true. Man, do they have like their own Columbo, their own Perry Mason Yautja?
How did they know that the one dude was a death row inmate? Like, how'd they get him? Not how'd they know, but how'd they get him?
It's one of the things that I wish they would explain a little bit more. And maybe they do try to in the next one about how intelligent they are. But I don't know, for this one here, which, is way before the next one we're going to talk about, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, am I mad that Walter Coggins was in this? Walton Coggins? I'm going to say his name right eventually. I've noticed I've been saying it wrong lately. No, I'm not mad at all, because the dude's amazing. He's an awesome actor. And I love when he jumps on the one predator dude and starts stabbing him in the neck. Just like, come on, bitch, come on. He just doesn't care. And I think that's what somebody would really do. I think there are some reality-based reactions here.
Yeah, but like you said, it's still a very depressing movie, because even if they win, they don't win. They're not going anywhere. They're just there for round 2.
I mean, there is a lot of crates to drop at the end.
Yeah.
But Royce, I believe I could see him popping up somewhere else. I wish they would have brought him back, or maybe will bring him back. I hope that's still open somewhere. Robert Rodriguez and Adrian Brody have both said they are and have been open to coming back. Now, this was before we got 2 sequels, but they said that they would definitely come back for something to do.
So one thing I did really like about this movie is how the overall atmosphere is just a lot brighter. Like, it's not night, it's daytime.
All the time, daytime.
Well, yeah, I mean, But still.
No, it's just agreeing. Yeah, it's during the day. That's
like
the way
even the
planet
first
is, but it's
Predator,
good
most of it was
atmosphere,
daytime, but the big main battle took place at night. The second movie, it was just this dark, gritty city where most of it felt like it might as well have taken place at night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this one does get dark eventually, but most of the movie, yeah, like 80% is during the day.
Right, most of it though is brighter. Like you get a more visual of exactly what they look like, exactly what is going on.
Well, I don't think they need to be as hidden in this one. It's their backyard.
Well, that's true. That is true. I mean,
They're not like
they don't really use camo nearly as much either.
no. Well, I mean, think about the first one. It's camouflaged. It does. I mean, it has the cojones to go out there and kill people, but it does see that people have machine guns. There's cannons. You know, the second one, there's futuristic.
Well, Danny Trejo drops him with 2 machine guns in his hands.
Well, he's Danny Trejo. I mean,
well, yeah,
that's just the way it works. You know, desperado. But I mean, this one here, they don't have to worry about if they're seen on a military base. I mean, yes, they can take out like a squad, but can a Predator take out like 50 armed soldiers? Probably not.
True.
Firing cannons at them and
tanks,
launchers, yeah, all that stuff. No, but here they're like, they've already kind of stacked the odds in their favor, and they know the terrain. They don't really need to sneak around. And the one dude, the Falconer, I mean, he's already got his little Falcon dude flying around.
Yeah, the
like his
drone.
Little Silver Hawk.
Yeah.
Silver Hawks.
What did you think of the Yakuza guy literally katana sword fighting a Predator?
I think it was something that only seems ridiculous on paper. You think it's going to be ridiculous on screen, but it works. Now,
because that's what he knew. That was his...
That is what he knew. Well, I mean, he picks up that sword and goes, this is really old. And you're like, oh, this dude's going to use this sword at some point. Like, he's got it, right? And you might think instantly, well, this Predator's just... Because you're built up to think Predators can just rip through anybody, right?
Yeah.
But these are like John Wick.
Well, I mean, that's what we've seen so far,
people.
though.
Yeah. So I think it makes perfect sense that this guy was able to kill the Predator. Now, he died too, but I mean, they brought them here because they need to be a challenge.
Right.
They wouldn't just bring in Joe Schmo and say, oh, here's a samurai sword, see what you can do. Like, they knew that they put these people on the planet with the correct weaponry that they could possibly be killed. That's the challenge. So if somebody goes, oh, it's just silly that this dude killed the Predator with a samurai sword, first off, it wasn't that easy. And secondly, that's what he's there to do. That's the risk these Predators are taking.
So, like, the first time I saw it, I did think it was kind of ridiculous. But going back and, like I said, my rewatch, even if it was a little ridiculous, it was incredibly entertaining.
Even the Soviet guy, I mean, you think, oh man, he just got killed pretty quick.
Yeah.
But he has all those grenades. I mean, and I've seen that in a few movies before, but like they pulled that. It's like pulling the old hook and ladder in the football. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting the end around here. Holy shit. And that Predator wasn't expecting it either.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but that's the risk. And this movie's just done differently. I think it's fast paced. I don't think it's a very boring movie. Sometimes these movies can get bogged down. Like once it gets going, the whole chase thing through the waterfall and all that. It's a high intensity movie.
Yeah, but like I said,
it's very rewatchable for me.
What I'd really want to see change though is a little more backstory to each character. Like I understand who each one is.
If they could have eliminated 3
out...
people, they could have done that.
Oh,
I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And even cut out the Lawrence Fishburne.
I wish. But even him, we don't know that much about him. It was just like almost a throwaway character. I would have liked it if they'd have taken the time to even half of the main cast flush out who they were, how they actually got here.
It's one of my big criticisms that I'll get to the next one, but I do mostly agree with you here because if you are going to give a shit if somebody's going to live or die, you have to have a reason.
Yeah.
You have to have some attachment to this character.
Yeah. Because the movie opened on Royce, that doesn't mean he should be the main character that we all love and care about.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were banking on somebody like Danny Trejo. Like, you don't need to know his backstory because, like, if you're watching this movie, you probably know who he is, and he's played a badass in every movie.
Well, yeah.
But some of the other ones, it would have been, the Russian guy shows his pictures of his kids. If they would have just slimmed it down by 2 or 3 characters, I think you could have got more.
If they would just got a little bit deeper on Edwin, how they find him, how they know that he was the one that they wanted to grab, like just little things like that, I think could have completely changed the dynamic of the movie in a better way.
Do you think, only because you threw out here earlier about him playing Carnage? I mean, not Carnage. My apologies. Easy, people, easy. Him playing Cletus Cassidy.
That was off mic.
Off mic, was it? Well, yeah. Either way, in the Spider-Man, that really awesome Spider-Man 3, wouldn't it be the Predator's bringing in some symbiotes? Do you think they've tried to hunt those yet? Do you think they just gave up? Like,
maybe they grabbed Edwin, whose real name was...
Eddie?
Yes, thank you, Eddie Brock, from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Eddie,
I mean, could be.
but he doesn't have a symbiote, so he's worthless here.
I do want to know, how did he know exactly what that flower is? I mean, though Alice, her character says, it's not her character name, but she says the topography is wrong. She's been in 100 jungles. She doesn't recognize these type of plants and trees. He like instantly knows what this flower is.
Isabel.
And he has a scalpel with him, and
So see, that's the thing. Is he a doctor that is also a serial killer?
I think he's a serial killer doctor. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's just carrying around a scalpel though,
Well,
because he's wearing regular clothes.
Dexter did.
Yeah, I would have rather seen Dexter Morgan in here.
Dude, could you imagine that?
Dexter would have been like,
If
Dexter could have done some shit, man.
They would have made this movie with pop culture people we already know about. Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Instead of Royce, it's John Wick.
Well, you can't get Dutch Shaver's already in one, but you can't get, Arnold from Commando, and you can't get Rambo, and you can't get John Wick, and John McClane. It would have been funny to see John McClane and Martin Riggs up in here, though.
Oh, gee.
John McClane would have found a car somewhere to throw at a predator. Like, it would have. He would have invented a car to throw at a predator.
And at the very end of the movie, you just see Alan Rickman still falling off of a building. Rest in peace, man.
What a great actor. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what this movie is.
Just throw it out there. If you could throw one random person into a situation like that from any form of media, would they survive, and who would it be? Example, Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock with symbiote thrown into it, would he survive? Type of thing.
Bruce Lee.
Really? Bruce Lee?
Yeah, Bruce Lee. Yeah, Bruce Lee.
Come on.
It's fucking Bruce Lee, man. Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's going to dodge the lasers and...
Comanches can do it.
He's going to catch the laser like an arrow. He's just going to grab it.
Oh, Chuck Norris. I mean, he just lifted his beard and just punched the laser with his second fist. It's a beard fist. So let's. You want to go to the behind the scenes here, or you just want to keep rambling?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Well, I have here. This film was intended to be a sequel, and originally distanced itself from the AVP movies that come out, and Predator 2.
Only one AVP came out before this one, right?
I don't know. I was just reading off.
Oh, okay.
The tidbit. I think they both out at this point, or maybe the second one's about to come out.
Oh, side note, 6.4 out of 10.
6.4 out of 10. Well, it should be higher. I mean, it does show the Predator with the xenomorph mandible. I did say that. The film was supposed to have a cameo by Dutch. They tried to get Schwarzenegger back again. Never came to fruition. Howard Berger, who worked in the original film, and Greg Nicotero of future Walking Dead fame, took over creature effects. They brought back the original design for the Yautja, and they decided to create a new tribe as well as other alien species. It's been said that director Shane Black of the sequel, The Predator, that this film takes place before this film, but after Predator 2. But there's like no concrete timestamps anywhere. But I mean, if the behind the scenes people were intending it to be set there, and Shane Black, who did the one after, confirmed it, I believe it to be true. So it's kind of chronologically not exactly where you think it would be. I thought like maybe this would be after The Predator, but it's not. I already said that Brody and Rodriguez would do a sequel, but who knows if that's the case anymore. Overall, I dug this movie. I think it's rewatchable. I think it's fun. I think it's fast. I think it has energy. And maybe I care more about the character side because I've rewatched it a few times. The African soldier, he doesn't last long. Danny Trejo, unfortunately, doesn't last long. But it does show how dangerous this world was.
Oh, absolutely.
I was never a huge fan of Adrian Brody before this movie. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan now, and I'm like going like really, really looking for his movies, but his character here was just rough and tumble, and I enjoyed it. I liked how just gruff he was in the swearing and just meanness. It really stuck with me for this film. And any final thoughts?
Only final thought I really have is that my favorite scene.
Favorite scenes. I might have forgot to do this part. Go ahead.
The very, very end, when you think everything's finally resolved, and then they see all the cages dropping from the sky to the planet, and it's literally like saying, hey, the game is about to begin again. They have no time to rest. They have no time to recoup. They have minutes until these cages hit the ground and the next round is up. And we don't know if that's going to be humans. We don't know if that's going to be aliens. I would have liked to see a sequel to this movie, like a direct sequel following them.
For sure. I completely agree.
And I did have one thing here that if you pay attention, you do see at one point there's like a pile of skulls, and they range from modern day human all the way back to like Neanderthal.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How did I miss that part? I mean, maybe I don't know. There's so much awesome The scenery in this movie is really cool too.
And that's what I said about the other movies as well. Like the first one, the audio effects I was saying about. It just seems like no matter how bad the movie is or good, they put the detail into it. They take the time to weave the universe into to weave the entry into the universe. They take the time to make it make sense. Now we'll get into it later, not tonight. We'll get into it the next episode when we cover AVP. There's definitely some continuity issues, timelines that aren't exactly lined up the way they should be.
Yeah, we gotta call the TVA on this one.
At all. But for the most part, I think that they did such a great job at building this as a universe and Alien as a universe. And if they could have merged them a little cleaner, I think we could have one heck of an amazing MCU of horror.
Yeah, I would love to have a giant universe of that. And I know Universal tried to do it, but yeah.
But yeah, that's my big takeaway on this movie. Overall, I would give it personally probably a 7.5 out of 10. Not my favorite, but it is very, like you said, very entertaining.
It's one of my favorite of the franchises. My favorite part that I forgot to mention, I liked it when Royce was not fooled by Edwin. You think he is for a second. You're like, oh, is he really that dumb? And then he turns around and stabs him like right through the face. He's like, I'm fast.
Yeah.
Kind of pulls like a Vin Diesel there for a second. And I did like the Predator on Predator fight. I thought it was definitely done better than a future. Yeah. He's like, but I'm faster or something like that. It just stabs him like right through the mouth. Like right underneath the chin, just right up through, and then drags him. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Yeah, I like that scene. It just shows that like he was a bad dude. He's a bad dude. He would have been kicked out of Dutch Schaefer's unit for sure. Like you can't be here. You can't be here, man.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't a unit like that and got discharged. Maybe that's why he was angry and became a mercenary. Maybe he was questioned about it and then never really said why.
Wait, so you're telling me that if we actually had some more backstory, we might know?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, listen, Robert Rodriguez had written this script like 15 years before it came out or something like that.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah, like it'd been gestating for a while.
Jeez. But like I said, all in all, still a very entertaining movie. I mean, I'd say go watch it. I actually had this one placed number 2 on my list. I think we agreed on that. All right, so I think that pretty much sums up.
Yeah, I'm done on the Predators. I'm done.
Yes. On all of them? You're done? We're done. All right, well, thanks for joining us, folks.
Deuces. Dos vidonias.
I don't know what that means.
Arrivedercis.
Oh, okay, thanks. So coming up next, we fast forward ourselves. What year was that one?
We are going to 2018.
2010, yeah. So we are jumping ahead 8 years, like our 8 years to 2018 for The Predator.
Which takes place before Predators. Yeah, okay.
Look, 5.3 out of 10. I think that's generous.
This is not my favorite of the franchise. This is my least favorite of the franchise. Now, that's not to say there isn't some parts I enjoy, but look, overall, it's my least favorite. Anyway, this one's directed by Shane Black. We know who Shane Black is?
We do.
We do? What do we know about him?
That he directed this movie.
That he was also in the original Predator movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did Iron Man 3, which is not my favorite Iron Man movie. It's my least favorite Iron Man movie, actually. So, I mean, Shane Black, great in the first Predator. Not sure he's a great director all the way.
If you're not remembering, Shane Black did play Rich Hawkins in the original Predator movie. He was the radio operator, and he was the more lighthearted member of the group.
The jokester.
We see how far that got him. But it was really nice to see someone like that get brought back to actually create the movie because they have more of a personal tie to the franchise as a whole. And so we'll just run down the list real quick. We have Quinn McKenna, played by Boyd Holbrook, a former Army Ranger, who he's our basically our main protagonist, the first encounter that had, with the Predator. Nebraska Williams, played by Trevante Rhodes. Again, I do apologize, everybody, if I'm butchering
Trevante Rhodes. Sure. He was a guy that I said should be a possible replacement for Kang.
Oh, okay. Rory McKenna is Quinn's son, played by Jacob Tremblay. We have Coyle, played by Keegan-Michael Key. Not,
stop doing Kegels, man.
Key. Yeah,
all these Kegels.
Keegan-Michael Key. A war veteran. Olivia Munn playing Casey Brackett. Thomas Jane as Baxley. Alfie Allen as Lynch. Sterling K. Brown as Will Traeger. Augusto Aguilera as Nettles. And Yvonne
Strahovski from Dexter. All comes back to Dexter, baby.
I can never remember how to pronounce her name.
Strahovski.
But as Emily McKenna, who is the former wife of Quinn. I always see her name, though, and I immediately think of Chuck.
Yeah, that was her initial thing.
Did you watch Chuck?
I didn't. I know what it is, and I've seen like an episode, but I never.
So
I was doing other things at the time.
When it first came out, it came out around the same time Big Bang Theory did. And I followed Chuck more than Big Bang Theory, thinking,
I didn't realize it came out at the same time.
Big Bang's not going to make it. And then, of course, Big Bang went for like 15 seasons, and Chuck got like 5. So...
Right. I'd like to go back and watch it someday.
It's like
I was always
HD DVD versus Blu-ray. You know, sometimes you don't make the right choice. Sony.
I watch VHS.
Laser
disc.
Gotta put that 8mm reel back up. So, yeah, we're basically following Quinn McKenna, encounters the Predator, doesn't have any idea what it is. He's part of a PTSD group, and those are the members of the group that eventually join him in his escapade to...
That's a very quickly tailored plot synopsis, yes.
Is it really worth getting into?
Well, okay, so he's a sniper, and and he reminds everybody he's a sniper a lot, and he's a badass.
In the very beginning, he almost gets run over by...
He ends up with the PTSD guys because he's thrown onto a bus and going to be sent somewhere.
Yes, yes. And like the first one, kind of mirroring it, though, this one does open with a spaceship coming to Earth, but in a completely different manner. This ship is actually being chased by another ship being shot at.
Well, it's cool that it shows that Predators have portal ability.
Yes,
like either a jump drive / portal ability.
Well, it almost looked like, because I just rewatched this one today, just because, like we said, this is the bottom of my list. I'll just put that out there right now. This one 100% had the least impact on me. So I rewatched it today to get a refresher, and it almost looked like he shot something out that ripped open space, and as he flew through it, it sealed up again.
Yeah.
So
yes.
it was definitely some type of interdimensional or teleportation thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just shows that the spaceships aren't just fast, but they can hop, skip, and jump around.
Extremely advanced.
Yes.
And we also don't know who's chasing him.
No, I mean, it looks sort of similar. I mean, on the rewatch, it makes more sense, but initially you don't know. But I'm going to be very clear at the very jump here. There's a lot about this movie that doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of spaghetti thrown at the wall on this one, and unfortunately, I think a lot of it doesn't stick.
I don't even think they had spaghetti. They just said, "Hey."
Yeah. Well, they probably just would have CGI'd
Let's use ChatGPT to write a movie because we know it leaves out important details.
You want to just jump into what we don't like about this movie and get that over with?
Oh, that's all I have written down. I literally
there's stuff I like.
I have favorite scene, TBD, to be determined, because I literally could not think of one.
Well, obviously, glaring CGI. CGI Predators, they decided to use more motion capture and things in this one than practical effects. So you get a regular Predator, and then you get like a 10-foot Predator, and they're fighting, and they're going through cinder blocks, and it looks messy. It doesn't look very clean. The dogs from the future, but previous installment. All right, I'll stop doing the whole time warp thing here. But anyway, the Devil Dog dudes come back, and they don't look that great.
The Demidogs.
Demidogs.
Stranger Things.
Yeah. One of them gets shot in the head, and it just magically makes it a nice dog now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Rottweilers and any other beasts that have been knocked around quite heavily doesn't all of a sudden make them nice animals.
No.
And then it falls around like it's Air Bud and wants to play basketball or something. I don't know. It's playing fetch with grenades. Listen, I enjoyed that they took a swing with a lot of comedy here, but a lot of it, that stuff just doesn't work here.
What I hate,
they can't decide if it's funny or if it's not.
Well, that's the thing. What I hate is that you're saying all this, and it sounds like you're just cracking jokes, but these are actual things that happen in the movie.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't somebody said, "Oh, what Predator movie should I watch?" I'd be like, "Well, you could probably watch them all, but you won't be missing anything if you skip this one."
Yeah,
it doesn't really bring a whole lot new to the table other than convoluted stuff. Like now they talk about the mixing human DNA and other DNA, or now somehow connected to them, but they don't give any certain plot point in this movie enough time to gestate and develop. They kind of just rush through things.
Yeah.
And at one point, a main character has on a shoulder cannon and he's taking out dudes and then he blows his own head off out of nowhere. And then that's it. Nobody reacts. I didn't laugh. I was just like, oh, well, I guess that main character's gone now.
It was a why moment.
It didn't make any sense.
Nope. Well, that's just like when, in the beginning, when he first, he's messing around with what'd you call it, like a bracer.
The gauntlet bracer, yeah.
It like attaches to his forearm and he can't take it off. It's part of him now. Like,
it doesn't make sense.
No.
It doesn't make sense. And I like how he instantly understands that somehow this little ball that they took from Harry Potter, the golden snitch, it makes you turn invisible. So he doesn't want it, so he eats it so that, obviously they won't take it from him when he's arrested. But he just instantly knows how these things work.
Yeah.
I guess that's why
the
kid got all his brains. It wasn't from his mother, it was from him.
No, not even that.
Yeah.
So the whole point of that, like, because the kid's able to use the helmet and the kid's able to, like, understand the technology, it's because he's autistic. The movie pushes really hard that autism is the next form of human evolution, that it's a more advanced way of thinking, essentially.
They got a lot of backlash for this.
And because of that they can control this alien tech, that they're so much smarter. And look, I'm a sensitive person. I'm not trying to be an ass, but in some respects, sure. But alien tech, suddenly, like, you magically know everything about it? No.
No, I understand that this generation, autistic or not, is very good with technology.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in previous podcasts. And I don't have any real world experience with autism. Mm-hmm. I've only seen it put in TV shows and movies. But there was a lot of parents that had watched this movie that were not happy. And I don't know the specifics, but apparently it's just like insensitive. And to just say this kid who's a little bit different, who's on the spectrum, at the very end, before I even get to the part that I hate the most, this kid is now just working in a government facility, hand in hand with all these scientists. First off, that's not how the military works. It's not how military intelligence works.
I hate when you see that stuff in movies. This 8-year-old's a hacker. He's now going to be working for us. No. And then it leads to what I think is the worst scene, is the Predator killer suit. Oh, dude.
So I guess Michael Bay decided, or somebody said, hey, Michael Bay, you want to come direct a scene of this? It could be like your Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We can do some of that here. We need some of that magic. Come on. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I have right here,
in the final line,
right above favorite scene, it says, note, I hate the Predator killer armor idea completely.
Yeah, you should just wear a Super Shredder suit instead. I hope they got one in a 41 long, Bubba. And then the movie just ends. What? Now listen, Boyd Holbrook is a gem. He was good in Logan. He was good in Primeval of Justified, the one they just did in Detroit. He is, I don't know if I talked to you about it, but he's in the newest Indiana Jones. The guy is like quietly becoming like a really good villain type dude. Maybe I just expected him to be a sort of a bad guy here because it's been so long since I'd seen it, that I'd seen his villainous roles after. But like even he couldn't really save some of the stuff they were doing with him. Now, that's not to say there isn't good parts. There is. I'll get to the good parts. But, man, there's a lot of bad that outweighs the good in this movie. It's a hot mess. It is fun. Like, you can just have it on in the background, I guess. But if I was flipping through channels, Josh, I would flip past it. I'd be like, well, I just go down and grab my DVD and watch the original.
This doesn't even feel like a Predator movie to me.
No, it's more of a human movie with a couple of Predators, 2 Predators thrown in, who all of a sudden decides, because this kid has autism, not only is he smart enough to do everything, but now he's the prey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the ultimate prey, and he's going to give him a 5-minute head start. This 8-year-old kid.
Yep, that he's the one that the Predator's actually after because he's so advanced. No.
It doesn't make sense. But don't worry, a small predator came to the Earth to save humanity and give him the predator suit because he knew now these new 10-foot predators were just going to... Whatever. And their long game is because they want to slowly weed us out so they take our planet over?
Then why would they want to slowly do it? Just wipe us out.
Yeah, I mean, if their one little gauntlet bomb can level... I think, what did somebody say, 30 city blocks or something worth of forest, jungle or something is roughly what they said in one of the movies. I think in Predator 2 they say.
Yeah.
Then their weaponry, come on. They can hop, skip, and jump through time and space, because that's how physics work. Yeah, it's just stupid. It's stupid. But let's talk about the things we did, like Zach, Josh, or
real
you
quick,
got more?
though, that doesn't... Who am I? What?
Zach, Josh, I don't know.
But that doesn't even touch on the fact that...
All humans look the same.
That doesn't even touch on the fact that, like, Olivia Munn's characters, scientists, they're experimenting. Like, they're trying to work with the genetics of a predator they have captured, and why? That's my big question for this whole movie, is why? Why did you do this? What purpose does that serve? Where's the end game? There just isn't one.
There isn't.
There really isn't.
So, I mean, all right. We've been pretty mean here. But let's jump into what we did like. Is there anything that you did like?
No! God, please, no! No!
Oh, man. Okay, I will have to say, the only thing I think I actually liked about this movie was when the Predator wakes up on the table and just slaughters
That's my favorite scene in the movie.
all the scientists and breaks out. Like,
Yeah, and Olivia Nunn takes all this time to get naked and go down into like the little glass thing
yeah.
to re-enter, but it's already too late. But then obviously he doesn't kill her because she doesn't have any weaponry.
It was nothing more than a, hey, we need you to show some skin because you're a really big name and people think you're attractive.
But we're going to do it in a PG-13-esque way.
Yeah.
And I think these are all rated R, but they still, like you say, because only one movie shows actual movies. Yeah. So, and it wasn't her. Speaking of Olivia Munn, I did like some of the character interactions between. Sorry, lost my train of thought. No, listen. Tom Jane played the Punisher. They bring him in here. I think that's a pretty cool choice. Alfie Allen, is that his last name? Alfie Allen. He was pretty big in Game of Thrones. He was huge in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Alfie Allen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So obviously he's there. So they're bringing some stars in here. I did like when Tom Jane and Key die. I like their scene. They're best friends, supposedly more best friends. Don't really go fully into detail there, but they put each other out of their slow dying misery, because the way they were about to get killed was pretty wicked. I thought there was a lot of comedy in here. I'm not going to say this movie isn't funny.
Oh, wow. So
there's a lot of really good jokes.
I'm going through IMDb right now just so I can, help you with names if you need it. And I didn't realize that Thomas Jane, that he's the one from The Mist.
Yes.
I didn't put that 2 and 2 together until this exact moment.
Really?
I feel really dumb now.
Oh, well, I mean...
If you haven't seen The Mist, we won't spoil it for you, but don't.
Yeah, no. It was just a horrible experience watching it, and
I will say this, without getting into any detail, no spoilers, all I'm going to say real quick is the ending of The Mist is probably the maddest I've ever been at the ending of a movie.
Oh, it's definitely my top 5 for sure.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, so like I said, comedy. A lot of good comedy here. A lot of good jokes. They tried to do some good action. Didn't really go that well.
And it does look like Olivia Munn was coming off of this semi-fresh right off of X-Men Apocalypse as Psylocke. That was in 2016, and this was in 2018. Yeah, but she was coming right off of, Well,
she was also just in Magic Mike as well.
Oh, okay. That'll do it.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that we can really say about this movie that doesn't make us sound like horrible human beings? I mean, the CGI was incredibly flaky.
Yeah, that's about that's
the
how
film's direction was just there wasn't one. Like, I mean, it was a compass sitting on top of a magnet. It was going all over the place. There was nothing about this movie that really had any solid direction whatsoever.
No, it was a bunch of just wild dogs running.
The coolest thing about the movie, in my opinion, other than the Predator breaking out, was the camaraderie that you see of the PTSD soldiers. How they didn't know each other for the most part, and they just pick up to help one another.
Yeah, and I did like that. They see the Yautja running across the buildings, and they're like, "What was that?" And they just like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go with it."
Yeah,
like we believe the guy now. Like he's not crazy. Like, and they just go with it. The only really behind the scenes stuff I could get here was some of the stuff we've kind of been talking about. But it says after the film was not received very well, 2 people chimed in about it. Boyd Holbrook said, I just think the first one, Predator, caught lightning in a bottle, and with people wanting to do more, maybe you should have just let a sleeping dog lie sometimes.
What does he mean by that?
So he said basically maybe we shouldn't have made this movie.
Oh, fair enough.
And director Shane Black also said that he's not going to blame other people for it. He's like, I'm not going to take the road of blaming anyone, including the studio, for a failed movie. We tried something different, and in retrospect, taking the finger on the pulse, I guess we just didn't have that finger. So, I mean, he takes a lot of blame here, and basically everybody admits maybe this wasn't that great of a movie because it was hyped up like we're doing something completely different here. When I heard this was coming out, I loved Predators. So I was like, oh, right, maybe we're getting a sequel to that in a way. I heard Tom Jane was going to be in it. Benicio del Toro was supposed to be the Boyd Holbrook character.
Okay.
But he got replaced because of issues shooting another role somewhere. Now they
did
talk.
Say it, but I think I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him.
Yeah.
I did like his movie with Tommy Lee Jones though, where they teach each other how to kill each other. That was pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was again talked to return, but he didn't come back because he said the role they were going to give him was going to be too small.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's all I have for it. So what do you got?
So I have one small, almost alternate ending that I found. It was down a very deep rabbit hole that I'm so glad they didn't do.
Oh, is this the one that?
Yep.
Okay, I thought about putting it in here, but I was like, I bet you Josh and his.
I'm gonna guess that we're talking about the same thing right now. So apparently there were 3 different endings originally shot for the Predator. They were all variations of the Predator killer, and one of them involved a Predator killer. Think of it almost like a cryo thing opening up. And you would see Ripley with a breathing mask laying down inside of it. Yes, Sigourney Weaver from Alien, that she was the Predator killer. Thank you for not doing this.
Do you think they would have done like a Princess Leia horrible face CGI?
No, they said they were going to do it where you couldn't see a face at all. And it was going to end with a zoom in on the name tag simply saying Ripley. And apparently Sigourney Weaver was quoted, let me see if I can find it here, saying that she wasn't happy with the film at all, first off, the Predator movie, and that due to the possibility of the crossover, quote, the reason I wanted my character to die in the first place, and she thought the concept, quote, sounded just awful. So Sigourney Weaver, you were absolutely correct.
Sigourney Weaver,
that would have been
another point for Gryffindor. There you go.
Sure, it would have 1,000,000% solidified the universes, but first off, the timelines would have been so completely out of whack.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's done like a master timeline of when these all these are supposed to be going. I mean, people do so many deep dives.
They would have had to have done some type of time something or other.
Well, I mean, we already sort of went through a time in Alien of when Ripley's born as opposed to Covenant and Prometheus.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When Ripley was technically born during like Prometheus, that's still hundreds of years after the events that are taking place right now in the Predator.
So that would have shown that the Predators can mess with time.
Right. That would open a huge can of worms that
Did you see one more they were supposed to bring back like a Newt? Newt was supposed to come back in here too, along with Ripley. Yeah, they were supposed to. Yep, they're bringing it. Why bring this kid back? I have no idea.
Dead.
Well, they somehow got to her pod before. I mean, listen, they would have negated Alien 3 for me.
I'd be okay with that.
To me, this one right here is the Alien 3 of the Predator franchise.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
But I mean, I'm not sure.
It had some great acting.
If they were both on TV, which one would you watch? If you Alien 3,
I would go, absolutely Alien.
Okay.
Just because I'm not going to cringe the entire time. Alien 3 still had plenty of good parts.
You liked it better than I did, I think.
It still had plenty of good parts to it. I still stand very firm on what I said on our last episode, that Alien Resurrection can go, jump in a hole. I know you disagree, but...
No, I was just thinking that Alien 3 had the guy from Game of Thrones, and then this one had a guy from Game of Thrones. That's all.
Well, but yeah, I'd watch Alien 3 over the Predator any day. Sure,
that's something I have to really strongly think
CGI, or not CGI even, but the overall like quality of video and stuff, it's better. It's more relatable because it's more current era. But I don't even have to think about it. I would absolutely watch Alien 3.
But you're telling me you don't enjoy the part where the one guy got turned into Lieutenant Dan?
Just as much as I enjoy the part of
so you were saying earlier, if I could throw anybody onto a planet with the Predators, Forrest Gump.
Oh, jeez. I just kept running.
Why did you kill all those Predators, Private Gump? Because they shot at me. You're the best goddamn soldier I've ever seen, Gump.
I always joke about how I want to see somebody edit like Caesar in Fast and the Furious.
We need Forrest Gump on the Predator homeworld.
I just want to see a scene where Royce is fighting the last Predator, and in the background you see Forrest Gump run by, Jenny!
Just running through the jungle. Jumped up and bit me. Okay, all right, well, we got to wrap up the Predators, man. I mean, Predator, the Predator. I don't know, it's the Predator, not any old Predator. It's the Predator.
Moving on to what I feel is
solid entry.
Well, I'm gonna step.
We're gonna end this on a sweet note.
Let's step on a limb and say that I think it is.
Does the limb have a panther on it?
My personal what? No.
Well, the movie they're on a limb with a panther.
I know. Now, my personal opinion is I put this on par with the original Predator movie.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I don't know about it being on par.
We are talking about.
It's close to being in second. It's one of the. It's tied for second place, but I don't know if it's.
I don't know.
as good as
I
the
put
first
it
one.
pretty high up there. We're talking about Prey. It just came out 2022. It is a prequel based 300 years from. It's supposed to be 300 years ago from now. So you can assume 300 years before the first Predator movie.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
We do follow. What's her name? Naru. A young Comanche girl who is a skilled warrior, skilled hunter. She's trying to make a name for
Self-taught.
herself in a world of very heavily men-dominated society and the Indian culture. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know jack about like Indian tradition.
Well, I have a little behind the scenes here that'll
Okay,
shed a
good.
little bit of light here.
But I will say that I just want to throw this out there right away. It's a 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. I personally give it a 9. And I think I gave the original Predator 9 to 9.5. So I will say second in my list, but it's still, if I had to see this or the original Predator on TV, I would have a very hard time choosing. Probably flip back and forth between commercials, which again, anybody who actually remembers commercials realizes how old we are.
Oh, don't worry. YouTube has 21-minute long commercials when you're trying to listen to a song. And
Who'd
just
you
stops
say
in
it
the middle.
was? Tom Petty?
Yeah, Tom Petty. Half of a Tom Petty just stopped mid-song, and YouTube decided it was going to play me a 21-minute ad. Yeah.
Who was this directed by?
This is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, scored by Saren Schachner. She's done a bunch of video game stuff, Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I think it made sense. When I was on deliveries today, I listened to the soundtrack all the way through.
For Prey.
For Prey. Yes.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's
Really?
definitely
Okay.
different. I like that frontier sound.
Oh, yeah.
It's like got that classic frontier sound, and it's just really good. Amber Midthunder obviously is the main girl. I don't think you said her
Oh,
name.
no.
Who plays Naru?
Just
but,
Naru.
I mean, like that's her actress name.
Yes.
Midthunder.
Which I don't know that she was really in a whole lot before this. I mean, it looks like she was in.
Legion.
I was just gonna say that Legion. Yeah, actually, there's not a whole lot here to be honest with you. Most of which are like small TV movies or TV series. A few shorts. So 4.0, 5.6 movies, and then Prey came in at 7.1. She's apparently in the new Reservoir Dogs TV series. Didn't know that.
Reservoir Dogs has a TV series.
Apparently.
Res Dogs.
No, it says Reservation Dogs.
Reservation Dogs. Yeah, which I'm not sure. I don't know if there's. I've watched Res Dogs. I don't know if this. No, she is in it. Okay, because I do remember reading this morning because I watched Prey this morning
It
before
says
work.
she's Miss Matriarch, but it's spelled like.
She's a ghost. It's a ghost.
Oh, see,
lady.
it's
Yeah.
spelled like a computer name. Like mate is M8.
Yeah, it's weird. If it's the character I'm thinking about, Res
Okay.
Dogs is actually a really good Native American show.
Really?
It's funny. It's endearing. It's a shout out to that show. It just ended,
Well,
but
I thought it said
it's great.
Reservoir Dogs, and
yeah, I was like, they're making more Reservoir Dogs. Is she Mr. Pink or Black? Or... yeah, I'd say some stuff here, but my computer decided to flip me on a whole different screen. So
well, that's exciting. So let me go ahead and dive in here real quick while we wait for him to catch up.
I caught up. I'm
Okay,
here.
never mind. Go ahead.
Oh no, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to go through the cast real quick. I only
Go
have
for it.
3 members of the cast written down. Thank you, ChatGPT. Apparently, it only thought the important people. I have Amber Midthunder as Naru. She is the Comanche girl who we literally follow the whole movie. Dakota Beavers as Taub, or Tabe, Naru's brother. And then Dane, help me out here.
Diligero.
Thank you, that Diligero as the Predator.
Yeah, and you see the calves on him?
So
That
I
one
was
scene,
reading,
dude, his calves are like massive. He's like a running back.
I was reading that, like, I guess 90% of the Predator and Prey was practical costume, practical effects.
Yeah, they did go back to it, and I greatly
It
appreciate
looks
that.
so good.
Yeah, I think they looked at that previous movie and said, no.
They looked at the movie before that because that one doesn't exist. That's in my vault of no.
Well, you went over the main people here. I mean, there's a lot of Native American actors here.
Who played the dog?
Coco is the name of the dog, who wasn't supposed to be in the movie as much, but she was very energetic, and the directors and behind-the-scenes guys were like, hey, this dog's pretty cool. So they
See,
kept her
that's one of
longer.
those relationships where I would have totally believed that Coco was the actual dog of Amber Midthunder. Again, the main character, because there's such a tight relationship between that dog and that character. I would totally believe that she brought her own dog on set that day. 100%.
Yeah, I feel like these people spent a lot of time getting to know each other. Everybody interacted as if they were part of a tribe.
Yeah, like there's really tight camaraderie there.
There is, and I'll go into a little bit more in the behind the scenes a little bit later on, but I think there's a good reason why that is. So that kind of covers the cast. I think that the way they shot it was really beautiful, just stunning and beautiful. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I thought that they really they took great care to show not only the Comanche tribe as like with respect to their traditions and their way of life, but they also really showed nature in a respectful way. They just showcased the beautiful mountains and the forests and the fields and animal life. And I thought it was incredibly nicely put together.
Well, I guess the cinematographer, Jeff Cutter, filmed it in an anamorphic format because he wanted to better depict the vast locations, according to Wikipedia. Okay. And I think it really worked because it's very wide and it just shows the stunning. I mean, it's just shot up in Canada, Calgary, and on a Nakota
Makes
nation.
Sense. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because Amber Midthunder's father is part Nakota.
Okay.
So she has Comanche, heritage, or maybe not. They chose Comanche because they're fierce. Nakotas aren't Comanche; they're a different Indian tribe. But I think it's pretty cool that they were like, let's not just get a bunch of people that look a certain way and we'll get them to pretend, like an Italian actor with a tear in his eye by pollution. Like, let's actually get some Native Americans in here. Let's do this authentic and let's make this not bullshit. And they succeeded. Well,
and that's some of the scenes that you hear them talking in the native tongue is actual Comanche dialogue. It's actual language. And I think I mentioned this to you before. This is the only full-length feature film to ever have an entire Comanche dub over it. All the actors came back, and they did a full Comanche dub of the movie.
And that's awesome. That's amazing.
Because
you can still stream that, too, on Hulu. You can choose.
Oh, see, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I've never done it because I won't understand it.
I think the Native American...
But the fact that it's available is just phenomenal.
The Native American mythologies, there's quite a few of them. This nation we live in is just, history's horrible. What's happened in Canada happened here all over the world. And I think so much of that culture, which is so rich and diverse and amazing, is slowly disappearing. And I think when people take the opportunity, as they've done here, to bring that back, and even shows like Outlander have done this too, to bring back and to say, hey, no, here it is. We got Killers of the Flower Moons coming out. I think these amazing people need to be highlighted more. You got shows like Res Dogs, that's also done it. They're the originators. They're the people who are here first, and I think they need to be given some love. So that's my feeling on it.
So I always find it amazing that like you go overseas and you find castles and you find old buildings that they have history dating back to the 1500s or earlier. I mean, like Stonehenge and but then you come to America and the earliest thing most people think about is like 1700s into 1776 when we became a country. They don't ever, most people, I'm not saying nobody, but most people don't ever actually think about pre-American civilization, pre-settlement,
pre-colonization.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, people don't ever think that there were absolutely people here long before Columbus found the West Indies or
I'm going to say right now that this country's been whitewashed. Just
for the record, Amerigo Vespucci is actually the one who founded America, not Columbus.
I've seen people on the street, and I have not personally done this. I have asked people down the street, but I think you go around and ask 100 people, where did America get its name? They wouldn't know that it was that cartographer. No. They would have no idea.
No. There's a guy on YouTube who goes around asking people, like, when was the Declaration of Independence signed? And 1985. Like, stupidest answers, but it's like they actually don't know. Or my favorite is, when was the War of 1812? Who's in the French and Indian War? And people were like, the Nazis. Come on. Is our education system that flawed?
Well, I think people just listen. Shout out to a lot of teachers that really do try hard.
They don't listen to us.
But, we might have a YouTube listener that's a teacher. And if you are, keep doing your hard work because you're amazing. But I think a lot of people today just don't want to learn.
Hit the like button.
Subscribe.
Something.
I don't know. It's what they always say in the videos. All the above,
yeah.
You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
But no, really. Yeah, I mean, I know that they're working their butts off, but it's just that so many people today, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox. I can, if maybe that would be subscriber content.
I go dig one out for you. Yeah.
That'll be subscriber content. You'll hear us go into like hardcore soapbox crap. Which, first of all, we agreed to never get into politics.
Yeah,
so this is as close as I'm ever going to get, is that too many people today think they're entitled, and I'm not just talking about upcoming generations. I mean, in general, too many people think that they're owed something, and that's not the case.
Absolutely not.
Unless you're a Native American who killed a predator.
Then you're deserving of a lot.
You are.
Hey, listen, when I sat at that Thanksgiving table, when I gave myself my own prayer because I pray differently than others, I give recognition to the people that were on this land before. I mean, 2 miles over here past the bridge, man, this was not white people chilling.
Oh, no.
No. So
No. If you actually, last thing I'll say, but if you actually like look back into the Native American history of just our area, it's brutal. I mean,
well,
it is.
in our D&D game, it's called Ohesson, named after the tribe of the original people here, Ohesson. It wasn't just when I first moved here, I thought it was just like some rich Ohesson manor. Like, oh, who's that rich person? I didn't realize that was the original Indian village that was there. The Ohesson Indians. That's what was here. Wow, we went really off on there. It had nothing to do with prey, but you know what? That's fine because we're going to get right back onto it.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to continuously talking about what we did like. You talked about the atmosphere. It's a pretty movie. It's a gorgeous movie.
It is.
The soundtrack is gorgeous. The acting is on par, above par.
I don't say this often, but the CGI was actually pretty decent in some spots. Some spots it was shaky, but some, like when you first see the Predator, he stands up as the cloaking goes up.
The Predator CGI, I think, is well.
Very, very cleanly done, I feel.
Some of the animal stuff I didn't think was that great, but I just think we still haven't gotten where we need to be when it comes to animals. We can do alien creatures, but we can't do a bear and a wolf. I mean, it was close as much as we can get today, but I'm waiting for that day when we see a bear on screen and you're like, holy shit, is that a real bear?
I've seen better looking bear in video games.
Like Vikings Valhalla or something.
But so speaking of which, what did you think of the bear scene in this movie?
Other than the CGI, and I'll stop harping on the CGI, I'll quit talking about it for the rest of the episode. That bear whooped some predator ass for a minute, and I appreciated it.
Did.
I thought it was cool. That bear was like, it might as well have been. Where's the silverbacks? I want to see a predator taking a silverback. Ooh, because silverbacks are strong, and bears are strong too. I mean, that bear chucked.
Yeah, but silverbacks have thumbs.
Yeah, hey predator, why don't you take on somebody with opposable thumbs? What? No, I thought it was good action. Just her hiding in that beaver and just watching those two titans tussle. It was great.
Yeah. So you didn't like the part where he gets showered in blood?
No, that was awesome too.
Oh, okay. So
I didn't want to go through
the charging.
Just when the bear's running after the dog and running after her. The same as when the wolf is kind of running and moving. Like when they're kind of standing still, it's done well. It's just when they start moving and they're trying to mimic. I guess I don't know. I could look into it. I wonder if they motion capped like a captive bear. I don't know, but
I feel like that stuff is all like stored away in a database somewhere. Like we need a wolf running. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I think we need to up our game there. Yeah, definitely update the game because I mean, there's some alien movies where you see some alien creatures that have fur, and you're like, wow, like that's awesome. But yet we can't do a grizzly, and I'm not sure. I think this is just a standard grizzly. This wasn't no Kodiak. This wasn't a polar bear. I mean, those two are like the king of the mountain when it comes to the canines.
Some polar bears can reach 12 foot tall on their hind legs.
Yeah.
To put that into perspective real quick, think about diving into the deep end of a pool. They're usually about 12 foot deep.
Yeah, polar bears ain't no joke. They are no joke. I mean, it's a joke now that we're ruining their habitat, but I won't start on that.
Polar bears are the only bear that view humans as full-on prey. Like, they will actively hunt a human down just to murder and eat them.
Num.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're mostly up north and basically anything breathing is food to them. But just saying.
Yeah. Bears, man. I ain't screwing with no bears.
Like there's a documentary once of a guy who lived with polar bears and he became friends with them and yeah, they ate them.
Wasn't there a grizzly guy that did that dude and the grizzlies eat him too? Yeah. Hey, listen, Tiger Kings and all you people, man. Listen, it's cool. Like you see on like Facebook or some TikTok reel, like, oh, found this baby kitten, thought it was half dead, and it ends up being like a full-on Black Panther, and you're like, I'm just waiting for the day when these people are just eaten by these creatures.
Look, I understand nature versus nurture, but there's a reason they have their instincts. That stuff is like hard-coded in DNA. Eventually, it's gonna come back out to play.
Listen, my little cat's mean enough. I ain't messing with some full-blown tiger. You know what I mean?
Or what you said, the little white aliens in Prometheus or in Covenant.
Those sneaky little things.
You said that reminds you of your cat.
Yeah. They fast killers. I'm telling you. Just throw some popcorn. Maybe they'll leave you alone for a minute. Yeah, the action sequences are pretty great. The trappers trying to stop the predator, the Comanche little guys, because they were all kind of little, took it to him, jumping around, all the yelling and stabbing with spears and the axe throwing. It was, I liked, it just felt like, wow, what is going on here? First off, I was like, how are these dudes even holding up against him for a second? I was like, oh, they're not.
Yeah.
I think he was just like, when little kids try to tackle an adult at a birthday party, you kind of just let them think you're winning for a second, and then you just annihilate the kids like bowling pins.
Yeah.
But I think everything was just slickly done here. That's my word of the month, by the way, slick.
I like it.
I've said it a lot this month, even though this month just started. I'm going to slide down into the February.
Do you know what I also liked? I liked how they backdated the Predator's technology.
I like how you just segued there.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
You just reversed it, though.
Are we playing Uno now? Well, house rules says it's your turn. If I'm staring at you, it's your turn. All right, so yeah, technology.
Yeah, so
Yes.
the way they backdated technology, so like instead of this big metal fancy helmet, he had a skull. Instead of...
His mandibles and stuff look different. They want him to look more feral, they said.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely. Definitely more feral. And instead of the
Shoulder
laser cannon, I mean, it still had the laser sights, but it shot out the little projectile, like...
Darts, like
kind of like darts, kind of like quills almost. Like they kept it more.
baby silver shafts.
You
just
can
kinda
almost
like,
say they kept it more practical. Like how if you go back in time, you have flintlock pistol, and now we have a regular pistol, and in the future theoretically we have laser pistols. They kept it less in sci-fi, and they kept it. They're primitive. Well, so is their culture. Even though their culture is far more advanced, they're still in a primitive stage of being. But
primitive stage of space travel. I love it.
Yeah, right. Well, for all we know, it took thousands of years to get to Earth rather than
The hop skipper.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give that's their technology. Yautjas use hop skippers.
I like it. Anything about that movie that we can make better is good. And I do love. I mentioned earlier, we do briefly see that old flintlock pistol resurface in this movie. Now I don't fully know the story behind the actual guy whose name is written on it. Do you?
I do not know specifically. Okay. I've heard rumors about a pirate ship or something.
Yeah, that's what I've read. But for the most part, everything I gathered online, people were saying that it was essentially a way of showing that at that time, so at the time of Prey, the flintlock rifle was considered, other than cannons, the pinnacle of weaponry. Rifles, cannons, that gunpowder age, essentially.
Uh-huh. Which
is leagues ahead of the Comanche Indians.
Right, sort of.
And yet, the Predator was even further ahead than them. So it was trying, from what I've read, people were saying they're trying to show the parallels of just how outmatched Naru really was in the grand scheme of things. And that the whole reason it was brought up in Predator 2 was just to show they've been around for a long time.
Yeah, it's a nice way to show the different levels. It's just as we saw the Predator go through and kill the rattlesnake, kill the wolf, all that. You can also see the different levels of skill and weaponry. Because even you see the Comanches are, they're trying to deal with this Predator, but then you have these people with the pistols jump in, the trappers. I think they're trappers. They look like trappers. I mean, they were skinning all the buffalo.
Settler-like people.
Yeah,
sure.
Man. Oh, that scene to me was disturbing and irritating.
So the first time I watched it, I thought the Predator was skinning them, and then I realized no, he wouldn't do that. He would just do one. That was humanity doing that to sell the hides. Like, it was so upsetting.
It's horrible, absolutely horrible, but done well. I mean, the effects there, I'll give them that. They were, dare I say, bloodily slick. Is that a thing?
Wow.
I mean, just to
bloody
see,
slick.
Bloody slick, mate. Look at that. You see the tendons there. Yeah, it's great. Where do I even go from there? I mean, you could see like the eyes of the skinned faces.
Yeah.
It just so messed up. It just shows how brutal humans are. And it's probably why in a lot of these movies, in fact, this might be the first movie though where I didn't really root for the Predator all the way.
You rooted for the Predator in other movies? I mean, in The Predator, I was absolutely.
Okay, well, the first Predator against Arnold, well, I'm not going to root against Arnold, but I was like, this is a cool creature. In Predator 2, I was like, yeah, let's kill some gang members, Predator. Let's go. I didn't get enough about Danny Glover to really root for him, other than I think he's Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon. And then the third one.
He's getting too old for this, man.
The third one, okay, I was rooting for Adrian Brody, but listen, the samurai sword fight, I was like, I kind of like this Predator. He's cool. And in The Predators, I was definitely rooting for the Predator because, like, who really even cared about it? I just want the Predator to murder the entire movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I just said it because it just pops out of my mouth. I don't know.
I'm not going to negate anything you just said. I
Good.
completely agree.
I'm just saying it. The Predator is like, when do you really root for a xenomorph? But a Predator, you're like,
Dude, really? The mama xenomorph gave birth to the baby, and the baby killed her.
well, that's because it wasn't the real Mama. Ripley
Yeah, that
was
was
Mama.
that was just a horrible movie.
Mama.
hear
What?
me?
Why did you say that?
That whole movie was awful.
Oh, was it?
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I'm not really good on that one.
Favorite scene from this movie?
Favorite scene?
Now, I know this is probably difficult because I had a really hard time picking it down, and mine is actually one that isn't in any way significant to the movie. But for some reason, the way it was done, I just really liked it.
I'm going to say, even though I'm not supposed to use the word CGI, I'm going to do it anyway. Despite the CGI, I think the bear fight was cool. But I think this fight had another great showdown that a lot of other movies have had. And I think this one was done with some heart. It was done with some innovation. Yeah, they kind of telegraphed what was going to happen, but like seeing her brother meet his demise, like it wasn't just, they just found a different way, another innovative way to have a lot of different elements, a lot of different pieces working around. You know, you had bad guys, but you had good guys, but then you also had the Predator. And it's like a three-way.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it was just way different. And I enjoyed the end fight pretty well.
Carrying his head back into camp.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was, I need a new word. That was bossa nova. It was radical. No, it was choice.
Wait, what was the big thing like 5 years? Lit.
Oh, I still use that. It was off the chain.
It was
for reals.
It was neato. Oh, geez. So
yeah, what was your
So one of my favorite parts was, it's the dumbest part too, but you see a snake kill a rodent. And well, first you see was an ant or something like that get eaten by
a
it was
shrew.
like it looked like a chinchilla or something. I don't know.
I think it's a shrew.
Might have been
field mouse. I don't know.
Let's just say rodent. And then it
I
pans
say
over,
field mouse.
and you see this snake coiled up, and that strikes and gets him, and it starts chilling away. And then it coils up again because it knows that there's something there.
Because it's got heat vision, and it can see the predators. Like, oh, you warm-blooded lung.
As soon as it strikes, you just see the blades go down through it, and he picks it up. And of course,
and then he takes the
skins
skull.
it. But it's just something about that scene that it makes you like realize, like, he's this predator. I say he. It could. I don't know what it was. It's working its way up the food chain.
I do believe that most of the literature has pointed out that male Yautja are the ones that go.
The warrior type.
Yeah, they're the ones that go through the rites.
But like, yeah, like you're watching it go up the food chain. Like you literally see it start with something small, move to a snake, move to a, I don't know what, the wolf, move up to the bear. Like,
it makes me wonder what their childhood is like, that you see something like a rattlesnake or a wolf, and like you don't even flinch. You know, like they're just. I mean,
you look at that and you think, huh, I'm gonna kill that.
I mean, I'm not afraid of snakes. However, if I went in the yard to put Toretto out right now and a rattlesnake was coiled up, I'd be like, no, dude, I'm out. I'm going this way. No.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I changed my accent, but well, some behind the scenes tidbits here. Not really like how it was made, but Jesse Ventura and Bill Duke from the original movie gave it glowing reviews. They said it was they liked it. They're like, hey man, they said it really captured the fire of the original one, and it was pretty awesome. So that's good that you got the approval of the original people.
Was Arnold asked to come back for this one? I
don't believe he was. I was like, Arnold's ancestor. You see like this
Conan.
Yeah, to crush your enemies, seem to be before you, and hear the lamentations of the predators. Yeah, no, he wasn't asked, as far as I can tell. Part of the concept of this had been gestating for a while in a previous film, because they wanted to give Billy kind of his own film, like not Billy himself, but like Native American. I guess the writers of this had been thinking about it for like a long time, and like, why don't we like make a full-length feature? Like, what if it was like Billy and his tribe or something? And it kind of morphed into what we got here. They obviously bring in the gun from Predator 2 to link them together. And I guess that gun also gave them the inspiration as well. So they're like, let's get Billy's movie, let's do a gun thing. And then it kind of just morphed into this Comanche thing.
Well, I'm glad it did.
Yeah, the original title of this was, when they were filming, was called Skulls. They said the Comanche were chosen as the central tribe because Trachtenberg considered them the most fierce warriors to walk the continent, arguably, and they were incredibly innovative. Now, I was looking into this a little bit earlier today because I don't know much about the Comanche, but But I was like, well, I thought like the Apaches and the Mohawk were pretty brutal, but apparently up to the point of the Comanche moving into the territory, the Apache were the most fierce Indians, and the Comanche pushed them. Like, they took over their territory. So they were considered like the most dangerous of all the Native American tribes. The film is mainly shot in Calgary, and it's on the Stoney Nakoda First Lands Nation. As I said before, Amber Midthunder's, she has lineage tied to the Nakota on her father's side. Jane Myers, spelled Jhane, so I hope that's Jane, is a member of both the Comanche Nation and the Blackfoot Nation, or Blackfeet Nation, I apologize. She served as a producer on the film. She kind of helped put everybody in the cast like through this 4-week training process to learn how to shoot bows and arrows and throw axes. I mean, they really tried to make this authentic. They wanted like them to be, I don't know how to say authentic 1,000 more times, dude. Like, how do you even say that?
Real authentic,
really real. Jane Myers, a member.
Legit.
Jane Myers, who was a producer on the film, she was a member of the Comanche Nation and Blackfeet Nation. She put a lot of input to make things really authentic. Like, if you look in the scene where Naru's in the teepee there, she's brushing her teeth. It's with an authentic Comanche toothbrush. Like, they recreated the toothbrush for that.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the costuming and stuff was made to be as accurate to time as possible. And I think they really just hit a line drive, home run,
I think
whatever baseball term you use. And they brought in horses because somebody had said you can't have a Comanche movie without horses, because the Comanches were like the first Native Americans to like domesticate and use horses. Mm-hmm. And they were known as incredible horse riders, which is probably why they conquered so much territory for a while, because they were so good with that. In fact, I think I read that the Apache had to get help from the Spanish because the Comanche were wiping them out. Now, this is all read online. You know, I'm not trying to step on any toes here if I'm historically inaccurate. It's the internet, and, you know, this day and age, it's where you get all your information from. Could I read a book? Yeah, I probably could. I probably could. In fact, you know, probably said I should read a few of them. Mm. And do you have any behind the scenes making of or any trivia or anything you got here for this movie? So
I did read one thing that I don't know if it was a fan theory or if it was actually considered to be a canon idea later. That let me get the names right here. Naru's brother, how do we pronounce that? Tabe.
I didn't.
Taabe. Taube, maybe.
Taube.
That he was supposed, you know, we know he dies in the movie.
We do. Yeah.
That Billy's soul in the original Predator movie was supposed to be the reincarnation of him. That there was it's either a fan theory or they were trying to make it canonized, that it was him coming back for another, like a final stand against the creature that bested him.
Well, it didn't last very long, but if that is true, I assume that this was probably drawn out because of the original thought process to even make this movie at all. Like the idea, the original. Yeah. I mean, there's probably a leaked script somewhere, or somebody knew somebody who worked somewhere. You know, I mean, I could see that possible. Stranger things have happened in movies and TV shows, and this is a franchise about aliens that come to Earth to kill people. So, I mean, maybe. After the Predator killer suit, anything's possible in this franchise, I suppose. And all doors are open.
Yeah.
Slam that one shut.
Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot, and I don't have much I can say bad about this movie. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was outstanding. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick something to change about it, I'd probably just say make it a little bit longer. Flush it out a little bit more. I love the end fight where she literally turns his technology against him, and didn't care for the whole mudding up, you know.
The flower thing was a little... I didn't, now that I think about
lower your body temperature.
Like, yeah. The flower works that quick. It's that concentrated. I'm not sure. I'm not a botanist. I don't know. Let's call in Edwin from Predators. Maybe he would have known something. But just even those little nitpicks like that are not enough to even come close to destroying this movie for me.
No, not at all.
And I'm really hoping, seeing how this blew the doors off at Hulu, this is like the most premiered watched movie on Hulu. I mean, it made somebody some money somewhere, and it was only a couple years ago. So hopefully we do get a sequel. I mean, at the end painting sequences, you see 3 Predator ships come in off the sky. So, I mean, they've been talking
Which
that...
I completely missed the first time. Yeah, if you rewatch this movie, watch the end credits. There's some really interesting stuff in the little like cave painting montage. Some really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, if you got to watch it a few times because you'll miss some things.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a possibility, we'll talk about the future of the franchise here, and there's a possibility that they could do a sequel to this. I mean, they could have done one to Predators as well. But even if they don't, and they just go, well, she survived, who knows what happened to her, the gun ends up here. Or maybe they do a tale where they show the gun in another place. They've talked about putting this on a pirate ship or putting this in the Revolutionary War.
That gun has to get back around to the Predators at some point.
It would be my guess. If I was the studio, some sort of filmmaker, I would want to find that weapon somewhere else. Like, I mean, I guess we already called her Vietnam, but there could be another, and it doesn't even have to be American. Like, let's put the Predator in Australia.
Yeah.
Let's put it in South America. Well, we did South America.
Australia, where everything is trying to kill you.
I mean, we can put it anywhere. It doesn't have to be.
Let's put it in a rom-com.
Predators, aliens, secret love.
Would you say that show is called that your significant other has been watching?
Oh, Married at First Sight. So they take out the blindfolds and it's the xenomorph queen and the 10-foot tall predator from The Predator,
They just start playing some good old Frank Sinatra music.
But as I've said in some other previous installments of our podcast, I don't want them to rush it. They've done a pretty good job of spacing these movies out, and I hope they do that for the future. They've already made one dud. Let's make sure we take our time, and I think this proves that they can really make a badass Predator movie in our time. So
what do you actually think is next? Do you think we're going to see another movie, or do you think they're going to go the route of Alien? Because now I read Alien Romulus is going to be a television show, and I also read that's going to be a movie. I don't know.
Yeah, they keeps going back and forth.
So what do you think our next route for Predator is going to be? Do you think they'll take
let's go movie.
The movie route?
Can
or do you think they'll
do
take a series?
6 scenes of a Predator stalking somebody or going back and forth? Unless it's about other alien species in the Predators and not just humans, which is another. Let's go way outside the box. I don't know the Predator in my head works as a miniseries, or definitely not 8 episodes or 10 episodes. Like maybe a 3-parter or something.
I don't even know how Alien is going to work as a miniseries.
It's because somebody's going to be slowly infected. It's just going to drag on, and I don't know. It's just
maybe they're going to look for a cure.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll be a metaphor of some sort.
Yeah. There'll be a grieving father somewhere. That'll be sad. That's all I know. Just there'll be somebody with some depressing connection to the past, or it'll all be some social commentary about anxiety or some stupid shit. I don't know. That's why I like the Predators. They're simple.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot of other subcontext.
Aliens about corporate greed. Predators about I'm gonna kill anything that's stronger than me.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how else to say it, but hey, listen, I enjoyed doing this. And I hope
agree.
you all enjoyed doing this with us, with your ears. You're listening. But maybe you can use your fingers and type in some comments, or use your finger to like, subscribe, maybe share this, text your buddy about it. I don't know, crank up the speakers somewhere so that other people can hear it. You can go to the treeofgeek.com. You can go to one of those tabs there, and they will tell us that you told us.
Yep.
I'm going to let Josh do this part.
Treeofgeek.com.
I'm just trying to save your voice. I know you're not feeling good.
Hit the Contact Us tab at the top and send us a message. Let us know what you think. Let us know if The Predator was the best movie ever made, so we can block you. we want your input. We want you, all of our listeners, we want you to really join in. We want to know that you're enjoying or hating us.
If you want to defend that movie, I want anybody out there, tell me why you're in defense of that movie, because I'm open to all opinions. I want to hear it. Come on, guys, interact. Let us know.
Yes. That's one thing we do ask for, is give us some more interaction. Help us know that this is reaching your pretty little ears. Treeofgeek.com, contact us. If you go to the next tab over, you can do the Help Us Grow, where you can subscribe to us anywhere from $3 to $10 a month to help us grow even faster, help us get better equipment, help us make
Miracle Grow.
Maybe if we get big enough, we'll use the money that we bring in to make our own Predator movie.
Oh.
If you're over 7 foot tall, please send your resume.
Hey, if you're over 7 foot tall, man, you come take my job. I got promoted. Somebody needs to take my job.
There you go. There you
I don't
go.
know. Yeah, you wouldn't fit in the truck well.
Spotify, iTunes,
YouTube,
you name it, we're, well, for the most part,
Amazon
we're there.
Music.
Definitely go check us out.
Are we on iHeartRadio?
We are. We are on all the platforms that I could possibly get us on.
Excellent.
So if you really want to check us out, youtube.com/@Tree of Geek. It'll take you right to our main page. Click that like button on every single video. Comment how much you love us on every single video. And then please listen or watch every single video. If you're going to watch them, just know that the picture will not change. We're not doing actual video yet. We're just doing the audio.
Season 5.
Season 5. Okay.
I only got one thing to say to everybody. Get to the chopper!
Take care, everybody.
Go! Ow! Yeah!